What's up, everybody? It's your boy DJ Mr. Fall, and welcome to another episode of Reel Me In, a movie podcast. On this week's episode, we are joined by Cary Darling as he has come back for his annual fall preview episode. That's what we'll be doing. No news, no trailers today. We're just going to keep it plain, simple, straight to the meat, because you guys don't like to hear us talk, so we're going to get straight to the point. So we're going to do the fall movie preview of 2017, so we're going to go over September, October, November, and December, and give you our thoughts on every single movie coming out in this Oscar-filled season. What will we think about each month? What will be our favorites? What will be our top three? Well, you're going to have to sit down, relax, and find out. What's up, you cool people, and welcome to another episode of Reel Me In, a movie podcast, where you didn't really ask for it, but hey, we're going to give it to you anyways. This is a podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and anything about movies. I'm one of your co-hosts, Chase Lee, and hey guys, listen, if you were searching on the internet for like something really weird or whatever, and you accidentally came across this podcast and you're not a movie fan, well, hopefully my co-host and I can convince you to be one, because we're passionate about movies, and we want you to be passionate as well. If you are new to the show, welcome. What we typically do is we usually go over some movie news and trailers that have dropped throughout the week and commentate on them for you guys, and also review the movie of the week or movies, depending on if we're feeling frisky enough to do multiple films in 1 week. This is episode 197. We are 3 away, Joel, from that Covenant 200. I don't know if you're scared. I don't know if you're like super frightened. I have no idea what's going through your head right now. And speaking of that, Joel, how are we doing today?
Oh, doing pretty well. It's been an eventful weekend because some people who are friends of mine have evacuated from Houston. They live down there where the Hurricane Harvey is literally like sitting over. I don't know if it's sitting over the city yet. It's going to be like pausing for like 3 days. So it's been an eventful week because we've had a bunch of people, friends and stuff, and family members come up from there. But in my neck of the woods, not much has been going on. So. Well,
geez, Joel, you sound fucking boring as hell. For all the listeners that are in the Houston area or just in general, we hope you guys are staying safe down there. And we are not alone. The good old Cary Darling is back. Is this your third one that you've done?
I believe it is the third one.
That's quite a feat, because Cary doesn't really like me, so I don't know why he keeps coming. But anyways, Cary is back. He is a movie critic in our eyes, the best there ever was, the best there ever will be. And Cary, how are we doing this week?
I'm doing well.
Wow, thank you for the encouraging words for the kids out there. All right, so, so just like I said in the intro, guys, we're going to be doing the fall movie preview, which means we're going to be going over every single weekend in September, October, November, and December. And I can't wait until Joel has a heart attack when he talks about Star Wars, Cary as well, and I will just sit back and listen. So... that is this week's episode. There's no news or trailers, so we're just going to get right to it. Before we begin, just a little housewarming things. Please share, subscribe, rate, whatever the hell you guys do on this, and spread it around. Let people know it's a pretty decent podcast to listen to while you're on the toilet. And also, Joel and I have an announcement that we will probably have pretty soon. Starts with a P, ends with an Atreon, that we might dish out for all of our listeners out there, so you can probably get more content if you want to donate. Now, and that's the other thing that people will misconstrue, is that you don't have to pay to listen. We're always going to keep the show for free, but if you want to donate, there will be some perks, so Joel and I will figure out the deets on that. And speaking of the deets on that, let's begin this shit, Joel. So Joel and I are going to switch off every single weekend, and we're just going to do it that way. So September, Cary, it is a pretty dead month, to be honest with you. There's only like a couple of things coming out, but let's start with the first weekend, September 1st. A movie called Unlocked, which Joel has seen, by the way. That's about it. There's really nothing else. It says The Temple's coming out, which is a Simon Barrett written project, but there's really nothing of note here. Joel, can you review Unlocked, or is there an embargo on that?
I don't think so. If there is, I guess I'll probably get in trouble for it. But
let's not risk it then. All right, so
I don't think there is, because I think that it's kind of just a whatever thing. They just sent the. I really don't know. There wasn't.
If you're breaking any rules, I don't know you.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing. Let's just say that. But obviously, really the only notable thing that weekend is that there's a reissue of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which is probably better than anything we're going to see this fall.
That's probably the case.
It's great. So.
Oh wow! So thank you for your insight. You and Cary are just dead today. Anyways, Cary, does Unlocked tickle your pickle?
It has a decent cast and a director with a decent reputation, but I have not heard a thing about it, so my hopes aren't too high.
Well, I mean, Joel is the only one in the country that has seen it in his room in the dark, so that just shows you the audience that it's catering towards. Yeah, it looks like Close Encounters of the Third Kind will probably be the biggest release. I know the Alamo Drafthouse is actually screening it here in Dallas, and so I might check that out. So, yeah, what a shit week. I guess to comment on Temple, I do like Simon Barrett's writing. I do like You're Next and The Guest, and he also wrote The Blair Witch as well. So, I mean, am I the only crazy one that's actually looking forward to it?
I'm gonna be reviewing it here in a couple weeks. I think I'm probably just gonna rent it off of iTunes, but yeah, I'm reviewing it. I think it's scheduled for the 8th for me. So I'll be able to mention it at least on the show at some point.
You sound really enthusiastic.
I'm
Cary,
super.
What about you?
I'm curious. I wouldn't say enthusiastic, but I am curious about it.
Man, I guess I'm the only crazy one that's on the Simon Barrett train because I've actually liked everything that he's done. But whatever. All right, Joel. Let's go on to September 8th because we have a movie coming out where if you were scared of clowns, you might want to stay the fuck away from it.
It's a tiny 72-minute chamber drama. It's called It.
Oh, okay.
It's a remake of sort of a remake. I guess it's kind of an adaptation of the novel, but it's also a remake of the 1990 miniseries. And I'm super excited about that. Obviously, it looks really good. We also have Home Again, which is a Reese Witherspoon movie from a director who's, I think, the daughter of Nancy Myers, Hallie Myers Shire.
Yeah, I think so.
That one looks really awful. And then a couple of other ones that are sort of on the bubble. There's 9/11, which looks horrible and misguided.
We're going to get Cary's full thoughts when you get done talking because I want him to describe what that trailer was. But Joel, go ahead and finish up.
Starring 9/11 truther Charlie Sheen. And then also a little festival title, The Unknown Girl, from directors Jean-Pierre and Luc Dardenne, who are pretty great. I've only seen one of their movies, actually, but Two Days, One Night, and I love that.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm excited for that one, although I doubt it ever opens here. But I've been hearing mixed things on it, but it's still a significant indie release. So those are kind of the four movies that are opening.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be the one that crushes. Let's make no mistake about that. Home Again basically looks like the sequel to Sweet Home Alabama. And the 9/11. Cary, did you watch the 9/11 trailer with Oscar winner Charlie Sheen?
I did watch the trailer.
Did you kind of shudder while watching it, or what's the deal?
I threw my computer against the wall.
I mean, it looks fucking terrible.
I mean, if you want a movie about 9/11, go back and there's several that were made several years ago that you should watch before this.
Yeah, literally anything else. The whole trailer just seemed like a really shitty student project, and I went to film school. I can tell you that all my projects were shitty, and it looks exactly like something I would direct, which, I don't have any morals, so that makes sense.
I guess the cast, everyone needed a paycheck or something.
I mean, Charlie Sheen's got to, fuel his coke habit. Sorry. So, Cary, we haven't really discussed Stephen King adaptations. Are you a fan of his film adaptations? Are you looking forward to it?
I am looking forward to it. I know. I mean, his adaptations can be hit and miss sometimes, depending on the director but I'm looking forward to this one.
What's your favorite adaptation?
Oh gosh, I knew you'd ask me that.
I have one. It's not The Shining.
It's not The Shining.
No.
The Stand.
No.
What is it?
I am a huge fan of Misery.
Oh yeah, Misery's good. Misery's good.
Misery's a good one. Joel, what about you? What's the Stephen King adaptation that you enjoy?
I've seen a few of them. Obviously, I've seen a pair of dramas with Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. Um,
Stand by me.
and I think that those are really good. I think they get a lot of like unfair expectations placed on them. I think they're really good. But I'm obviously a huge fan of The Shining, and that would be my obvious answer. But I'm going to go with The Mist from 2007.
Listen, The Mist is super underrated. I actually like that ending, and I don't give a shit what anyone says.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too dark. No, it's a gut punch of an ending.
Yeah, I mean it's the point of the movie. It really is. The ending is the point. It makes the point of the movie, and I think that's what I love about it. It's a ballsy ending, and it's a really well performed movie with a lot of creepy stuff in it. It really builds atmosphere well. It's one of my favorite Marcia Gay Harden performances. She's terrific in that, and as good as she was in stuff like Mystic River, honestly. And so I'm a pretty big fan of the ones that I have seen, and there are others. I have not seen Misery, for instance. I need to do that.
Boo.
I haven't seen The Stand. I haven't seen Pet Cemetery.
You call yourself a film buff.
There's a couple of others, but yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of the ones that I have seen. So
yeah, I mean, I'm dude. The fact that this is 2 hours and 20 minutes, like it makes me so excited, and the fact that they're gonna do the second part and whatnot, I'm excited to do an actual adaptation of it. I have not gotten through the audiobook yet because it's like 45 fucking hours long, but I've gone through an hour and a half of it, and I can tell you this right now, just from the first kind of like 3 chapters, it is dark, and I had no idea that there was that much like homophobia in there, and it's pretty terrifying, like on how some kids like bully some people in the book and like killing folks off of bridges. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck is this? Because like the Tim Curry version doesn't have any of that. It's like a really bad dark comedy. So it's like what the fuck are we doing? I'm actually like starting to get into Stephen King more. Cary's in my room right now, and so he actually can see a Gerald's Game book that I found at a antique shop the other day, and I'm getting into King's writing. So like I'm more excited for more adaptations, and ironically enough, that actually comes to Netflix next month. Joel, for Home Again. Do you want to see Reese Witherspoon go through angst in life, trying to find her way? Is that something that you would be willing to shell out full night price for?
It's funny. Originally, I had this in my schedule for that week to review, but I decided to axe it when I made different plans for this next weekend. And it just kind of stuff shifted into that weekend and knocked it out. Same thing with 9/11. I originally had that in the schedule, but I'm not seeing either of those.
Joel, why do you do that to yourself? I mean, listen, I realize that you like to see the Nut Job 2 and the Emoji Movie and stuff, but you gotta draw a line somewhere. Like, there's got to be like that one line where you just don't cross. Like, I don't want to watch this.
I just watched Death Note, so I feel like I'm pretty welcome to anything at this point.
I mean, you just love to hurt yourself. All right, so Cary, Home Again. Do you like Reese Witherspoon?
I think she's fine. I think this might do well just because anyone looking for a romantic comedy or a romantic drama that weekend,
it's good counter programming.
They don't have much of a choice, so yeah. It might do well that first weekend.
I think it will do. It's got the Nancy Meyers kind of like stank on it, even though she only produced it. So we'll see. And then of course 9/11. I hope it bombs.
It really advertises her name. I mean, she's credited before her daughter, so it's,
yeah. I mean, you kind of have to because like the director, this is her first one, so like no one knows who the fuck she is, so they have to put Nancy Meyers on top of that for sure. So Joel, let's move on to the next weekend, and that you have to introduce it with the exclamation point.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first movie that we have to talk about is Mother, which comes from of course Darren Aronofsky. It's got a great cast: Jennifer Lawrence, Javier Bardem, Ed Harris, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Like, that's basically half of that cast is like the most 90s thing ever with Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer. And then, two talents who have majorly emerged in the last 15 years or so with Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem. So I'm excited for this one. It's very intriguing. It's very mysterious. I love the really atmospheric posters that have been released. They've been killing it on that front. And I mean, I'm a fan of Aronofsky, so I gotta see this. I'm very excited for this one. Another one is there's really not much this weekend either, honestly, but we have two others. There's American Assassin, which is the adaptation of a prequel book or a prequel novel written by the late Vince Flynn. And it's got Dylan O'Brien, Michael Keaton. This one looks pretty stylish. Not like important or like something that we're going to remember by December, but it looks stylish and solid. I'm excited to see Michael Keaton in that mode. And then also Brad's Status, which is from director Mike White. Glad to see him have a director, position again. This one's got Ben Stiller. It's a good fall for Ben Stiller because he's got the Meyerowitz stories too, for drama comedy hybrids. So I'm excited for all three of these. Actually, this is kind of the first weekend where there's more than one that I'm excited for.
Well, and you also forgot. I think this could be a possible Oscar contender with Nicholas Hoult, Rebel in the Rye, the J.D. Salinger movie.
The J.D. Yeah, I totally missed that was on this list. But yeah, absolutely. I think that's a potential contender. Right in the middle of that season where people are seeing stuff at festivals. I think it plays at one. I think it's playing at TIFF or Telluride or something. So
yeah, it's going to play at one of those.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to play at one of those, and it's also got Zoe Deutsch, and I think that's this has been a pretty good couple of years for her, at least in terms of being noticeable in movies. Whether the movie is good or not is a different matter, but I like her a lot, and Kevin Spacey's in it, Sarah Paulson, so I'm excited for that too. I completely missed that on the list there.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty good little group here. I'm gonna go to Cary first. Cary, which one of these interests you?
Well, Mother, of course, if only for the exclamation point. Makes it sound like
Mother!
Like it's a Broadway musical.
A very horrific Broadway musical with blood coming out of a goddamn light bulb. That shot just creeps me out. And of course, Ed Harris getting on with Michelle Pfeiffer in a bed. I mean, who doesn't want to see that? But any of the kind of smaller ones you're looking forward to? I've been hearing a lot of great things with Rebel in the Rye.
I'm interested in that. It might get lost, though. That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, it's a little too early. It seems like. And American Assassin, Joel said it. I mean, I've seen this trailer like a million times because the Alamo Drafthouse loves to play the same 3 trailers over and over again, and this is one of them. I'm not really looking forward to it. It's whatever. I mean, of course, Mother is the one I'm looking forward to. I mean, dude, Darren Aronofsky, man. Like when you have Pi, Requiem, The Fountain, The Wrestler, Black Swan. The guy just fucking kills it. I even like Noah as like a weirdo, like atheist version of that. So like, I'm totally okay with that. But Mother, that trailer, man. Like, we haven't talked to Cary about this. Like, have you kind of liked the kind of marketing for this movie so far? Because it seems like Darren's really kind of not really showing you too much, but just kind of enough to intrigue you.
Well, he's also made me interested in Jennifer Lawrence again after her last couple of movies, which have been terrible.
Yeah.
So for that alone, he deserves the credit.
Yeah, and I was telling Joel this. I think this was the right move for her because after like Passengers and a bunch of other, in of course like her not acting in X-Men Apocalypse last year, I have a feeling that like she took a break and it's like she's really going to get into these kind of smaller films with Mother, and then we're going to get to the Red Sparrow a little later. But she's kind of emerging as like the talent that we know her as instead of that loudmouth that she has become. So Joel, I'm assuming Mother is your pick for this week.
Yeah, for sure. It's the one that I feel is probably going to be the standout for sure of those 4.
Okay, so I have to ask you to this because this brings up a good point, and I haven't really thought about this. Do you think with it coming out the week before, is it going to hurt Mother's kind of chances because it's going to cater to the same audience in terms of like the horror crowd? Cary, I will let you go first. Do you think it's going to kind of like take away Mother's box office a little bit?
I don't think so. I think Mother has a much wider audience. I think people who like...
Really?
Yeah, I think people like Darren Aronofsky, people like Black Swan, people like Jennifer Lawrence aren't necessarily your typical horror fans or even necessarily Stephen King fans.
I mean, I don't know, man. The heat on Heat right now is, or the heat on it right now is that it's tracking like 50 to 60 opening, which is a humongous number. The only bad thing about Mother is that Darren Aronofsky only kind of appeals to like that smaller film crowd, except for like Noah. I think Noah was his like most expensive movie he ever had done at that time.
Well, Black Swan became pretty mainstream.
That's true. I will give you that, because not only did Natalie win the Oscar for that, it got a lot of buzz going into Oscars. So I don't know. We'll see. Joel, what about you? Like, do you think with it coming out the week before, do you think that's going to kind of like hinder the box office just a little bit? Because let's face facts, folks. Mother is being distributed by Paramount, and they have not been doing well.
On one hand, I think that, the fact that it's a wide release, I feel like that means that Paramount's, pretty confident in it enough for it to be a wide release. But I don't think that this movie and it have the same, or exactly the same audiences. Obviously, people who are horror fans might be interested in Mother, but there's, like Cary said, there's a lot more people who will be interested in it because of the people involved. So I think that it's kind of just playing to different audiences. On a flat sort of level, I guess it might kind of steal some thunder, but I don't know if Mother has much thunder. That weekend's going to be ruled by American Assassin, I think.
Probably. Yeah, because, American Assassin is based on a book, and usually book-adapted movies are more well-received than ones that just kind of come out of nowhere.
And Vince Flynn novels are fairly popular. He's not like a name that everybody knows immediately, but the books, there are like 14 of them or something. So he has a fairly big, fan base, including my father. So my dad's going to see it. He's excited. So if people read his books and are familiar with the Mitch Rapp character, then I think that that's going to be enough to offset or, surpass the Mother audience, which is going to be a little more niche. I think that it's going to be the art house thing, even though it's a wide release. It's going to be an art house box office total.
I think Mother could benefit if the word of mouth is good, if the reviews are good. I think it could certainly broaden it with the audience that might have gotten otherwise.
Precisely, and I think that American, it's kind of answering to a different audience. So like they're going to be more with the genre rather than with the kind of movie that Mother is. They're not going. They're going for Stephen King. They're going for the different points of the movie, and then with American Assassin, it's all about the appeal of another espionage hero kind of thing. So I think that Mother is just kind of it'll do well. I think well for this kind of movie, but it's probably going to be like, I would suspect, number 3 or something. I think that it is going to rule the weekend for exactly one weekend. It's going to do really well, and then American Assassin is going to overtake it, and it's going to be number 2, and then Mother's going to be number 3. That's what I think is going to happen.
I think you're right on Mother being number 3, but I honestly think it will hold pretty strongly for at least a couple weeks, and American Assassin's probably going to be really close at number 2. The thing with Mother that it's got going versus it, Mother kind of has like that psycho appeal, and they even make references to Rosemary's Baby in the posters, to where like this is going to be the type of horror movie that people are going to be talking about, going, "Holy shit! Did you see that twist coming?" It's going to have like kind of like that twist appeal, like almost like that M. Night Shyamalan type of effect. So, I mean, I would be really shocked if it does like super well, just because Darren is a very kind of small household name, but who knows? We could be in for a treat. Yeah. Cary, any more thoughts on this week?
No, I think we've covered this week.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it. All right, so Joel, the next weekend, you're going to be discussing a Lego movie going up against a hard R movie. This is going to be fascinating. Yeah, this is actually a packed weekend. Most of these are just initial weekend, limited releases, but there's Kingsman: The Golden Circle and the Lego Ninjago movie. Those are going to be going head-to-head. Of those two, I'm infinitely more excited for Lego Ninjago. But, yeah, and then got some limited releases here. 4 or 5. There's the Battle of the Sexes, the one with Emma Stone and Steve Carell, about the tennis match between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs. Looks pretty solid. It's from the directors of Little Miss Sunshine, so obviously,
eyebrow raised there. There's Victoria and Abdul from director Stephen Frears. This is his latest, period piece involving a great actress. Basically, it looks like a self-parody of that. Honestly, I'm not interested in this movie. I'm going to see it because I think that it's going to be a play for Judi Dench, and I think that she has an obvious choice at an Oscar nomination here, or a chance, I should say. There's Stronger from David Gordon Green about the guy in the Boston Marathon bombing. And then a couple of really small releases. Woodshock. We discussed that trailer several weeks ago. It's got Kirsten Dunst. It looks super weird. And then the very long-delayed movie Friend Request that I've heard awful things about. It's finally coming out.
Wasn't there a movie with the same plot like 2 years ago?
Yeah, Unfriended or whatever. I think that this is basically the non-footage version of that, or the non-computer screen version of that kind of thing. So, and it's also sort of like Megan is Missing, except not, or whatever. Megan is Missing is awful. But yeah, so this is a packed weekend not for wide releases. There's only really 2, but for movies kind of getting their start, their foot off the ground. We're going to be seeing a lot of those expand into October. So I think that my most anticipated is honestly the Lego Ninjago movie. I just think it looks like a blast, and I've liked all 3 of them, or I've liked both of them, I should say, so far, and I feel like this is going to be the third that we enjoy. But yeah.
What do you have against the Lego movies, Chase?
I don't have anything against the Lego movies. I don't like the fact that Joel is being snarky on Kingsman over there. This motherfucker, listen, Joel and I go see movies periodically, right? And so we're sitting down, we're about to watch Good Time, we're getting amped up, right? It's an A24 movie, and then Joel just kind of turns to me like, because we were going over our list of what shows we're going to do and whatnot. He's just like, do we really have to do the Kingsman that week? And I was like, fuck you say? And so Joel had this whole diatribe for 10 minutes going, I didn't like the first one. So Joel, can you explain to the world why you hate the first Kingsman? Because I would love for our beautiful fans to attack you online.
I don't hate it. I just think that it didn't know what it wanted to be, whether it wanted to be an actual espionage movie or a parody of
Bullshit. It's based on a graphic novel, you fuck.
That's not an excuse, but
yes, it is.
It's not.
It's supposed to be over the top.
I am excited for. I mean, it looks well. First of all, the CGI in this movie looks horrible. Maybe it's just
I'll agree with you on that.
The trailers, but it looks like the cheapest CGI in the world. But I am excited because Elton John's in it to some degree, and I'm excited to see him in a movie. And I think that this is kind of the perfect movie for him because he has that he's British. He's got this sort of royalty appearance whenever he's in public. He's got an accent that suggests that, and I think that that's kind of perfect. I'm hearing rumors about who he's playing, and it's kind of perfect. I'm not going to say it just in case it's wrong, but yeah, I didn't really like the first one. The church scene was really troubling to me. The position that it places that particular character in and that scene is kind of reprehensible, and so I just had real problems with that. Because of the attitude that it takes toward everything about violence in it. It was kind of off-putting. I do need to see it again, and I'll do that before this new one, but because I've been wrong about movies before, and maybe I'm wrong about this one, but it did not go over well for me. And I'm not, a guy who's opposed to, harsh violence in this stuff. I just think, because I like the Kick-Ass movies, for instance. I like both. I even like the second one that's super unpopular, but... in fact, I think I like the second one more than the first one. So it's not a case of that. I think that it's all about the attitude. And whereas the Kick-Ass movies didn't shy away from their violence, this one kind of fetishized it, and I thought that was a bit off-putting. So it was just weird little problems, and maybe they'll disappear when I see it again. But I do plan to. And obviously, we're reviewing this on a show, so I'll certainly do my preparation.
That's right. I'm forcing your fucking ass to watch it. All right. So, Cary, what about you? Out of the 2 bigger ones, are you looking forward to another addition in the Lego universe, or are you looking forward to the sequel to Kingsman?
I'm gonna have to go with Joel on this one. I think we've talked about Kingsman before. I was not a fan of the first one.
Cary and Joel are basically the same person, by the way.
So, by default, I'm looking forward to the Lego movie more. But I love both previous Lego movies.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm looking forward to both as well because I actually like you said, both of the Lego movies. If they did a Lego movie based on like some like ancillary character like this or whatever, I'm going to support it because of the Lego brand. Because the Lego movie was a nice surprise. Lego Batman was an amazing surprise. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Ninjago. Ironically, but the Kingsman Golden Circle, I've been looking forward to that for years. So all right, so I'll go to Joel first on this one. Out of all of the small releases, you can only pick one. Which one you going to see?
I'm going to have to say, because of how intriguing it is, and because I don't know what's going on with it, I'm going to say Woodchuck. I'm really looking forward to that. It looks atmospheric and odd, and I like that. And a kind of odd that is appealing to me. So I'm going to go with Woodchuck.
Chase is going to pick Friend Request.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah, because that's my taste, you assholes. Woodchuck. I got to see one more trailer before I make my decision because it's A24. I trust them, but it also I would put that at the bottom. For me, it's tough because Battle of the Sexes looks really great. I do like the director's Little Miss Sunshine. I think that's a really great kind of comedy with heart. Stronger. The thing with Stronger, it's not the filmmakers or the actors involved. It's the fact that we just saw Patriots Day last year. And I don't really know if I really want to see another Boston bombing movie. Now,
I think this one's going to be a lot more of a personal, less of an action movie.
True. I mean, Patriots Day was pretty action heavy. I was actually surprised by that. But Stronger, it's really funny because I knew about this project actually 3 years ago. The writer of the film is actually a brother-in-law to a woman I met on a dating site 3 years ago, and she was discussing that. She was like, my brother-in-law is a writer. He's doing this Boston movie with David Gordon Green. I was like, wait a minute, isn't Peter Berg doing one of those? And she was like, no, it's a different one. I was like, okay. So I don't know. Out of the smaller ones, I probably had to do Battle of the Sexes. I just like the filmmakers involved, and of course Emma Stone and Steve Carell have been in movies before, and their chemistry is really great. So, Cary, what about you? If you had to pick one, you're going to see a acid tripping movie, a encouraging drama, a unfriended ripoff, or a movie based on real life events.
I probably would go with Battle of the Sexes as well, but I'm also interested in Stronger because the David Gordon Green connection and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, David Gordon Green. A lot of people don't realize. Yeah, he directed Pineapple Express and a couple comedies, but guy's done some really great dramas too. One of my favorites was Joe with Nicolas Cage and good old Ty Sheridan right before he blew up in X-Men. So Strongers are definitely a great pick. For some weird reason, am I the only crazy one that thought Stronger was coming out in November or December? I thought it was a winter release.
It is one of those things where it's wait, that's coming out this month.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was October or something, late October.
This is the problem with this movie is because Jake Gyllenhaal, Nightcrawler came out in October, and that movie got pretty much shafted by the Oscars except for one nomination. So I think they're doing themselves a disservice putting it in September like this. But whatever. September. Wait. September,
we have one more weekend.
What? September 29th. So wait a minute. Did I miss a week?
No, you didn't.
Okay, I was just like, what the fuck is happening? Because there's so many movies coming out on the 22nd. All right, so September 29th, we have a Doug Liman, Tom Cruise movie, which looks absolutely hilarious. It looks like a found footage Wolf of Wall Street, American made. A pilot lands work for the CIA as a drug runner in the South during the 1980s, and it looks absolutely hilarious. And, of course, the Shitty Flatlanders. That's it. Another faith-based movie. Don't care about it. And then, of course, the actually anticipated movie Lucky with Harry Dean Stanton, directed by John Carroll Lynch, who's a very well-known character actor. Basically just about a 90-year-old atheist exploring life with David Lynch. So, Cary, I will go to you first. What movie makes you interested on this weekend? I'm assuming it's the 90s remake hit Flatlanders.
Actually, you'd be wrong on that.
Oh, okay.
Probably American Made.
What do you think of the trailer?
I liked it. It looks like it'd be kind of a fun sort of action-y thriller sort of thing, with Tom Cruise not being too obnoxious,
too cruisy, like in The Mummy. Yeah, American Made looks really great. Please tell me you saw the trailer to Flatliners, because it was absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, I have no interest in that movie whatsoever.
They spoiled the whole movie. It's like you know how like when movies have like a great premise, you're like, oh wow, that could actually work in some weird capacity. The thing with the trailer for Flatliners is like, oh, we're gonna go under for a minute, then we're gonna go under for 5 minutes, and like they keep upping it, and then they like start hallucinating and shit. Like, why couldn't you hold most of that for the movie and just give us like the premise? But whatever, no one's gonna see that piece of shit. And then have you seen the trailer to Lucky? Because I'm looking forward to this one. This one looks like Harry Dean Stanton could be a front runner for the lead actor Oscar.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Well, I knew a couple people who saw it on the festival circuit and didn't seem to be too impressed. But I haven't seen it, so I can't say. So I'm a little surprised to hear you say that. But
yeah, no, it definitely looks like an Oscar baiting movie. That's not an issue or anything. But like when you watch it, it's like, this guy's been in movies and television shows for many decades, and this is kind of like his pinnacle of his career or whatever. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And hell, at a brisk 88 minutes, I'll go watch the movie and do a lot more stuff afterwards. Shit, I thought it was longer than that. But Joel, what about you? Since I know Cary is very enthusiastic about Flatliners, you are too, correct? And you're going to be the only two people in America to see it.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's going to be a new masterpiece. No, it's funny because I haven't seen the '90s version. I'm going to be reviewing this. So yeah, I know. Well, it's funny because this new one comes from director Neil Zardanopoulos, who I think is one of the most oversold directors right now. I didn't like any of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo movies that he did in Sweden. I didn't like Dead Man Down a couple years ago with Colin Farrell. So I'm not super impressed with him. And the fact that he's doing a remake of a movie that I haven't seen isn't all that impressive, like all that interesting to me. And plus, it just looks really generic. Like, really, like this is the most interesting place you could go with a near-death experience movie. Just regular like little horror things coming after you. It's just dumb. So that's certainly at the bottom of the 3 for me, or 4, I guess. I know nothing about A Question of Faith, so I'm not going to comment on that. American Made looks fun. Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise is always great. This certainly is going to be Tom Cruise with a slightly southern accent.
And it's a good cast surrounding Cruise.
It is a very good cast. Yeah, I mean, Donald Gleason, going to be exciting to see him in something like this. Caleb Landry Jones. You had Jayma Mays in there, which is funny. I think that's pretty fun. So, yeah, that one looks fun. But the one that I'm looking forward to most is Lucky. I think that this looks terrific. I've heard mostly positive things. I've heard a couple of them, mixed reactions that Cary did, but I'm super excited. It's got a really unique, unpredictable cast with Harry Dean Stanton, Ed Begley Jr. is in this. David Lynch is in it. Ron Livingston. So I'm a fan of the concept and I like John Carroll Lynch as an actor. So I'm interested to see that. But yes, that's probably my most anticipated.
It's really weird because like I've been on this 3-month journey with Twin Peaks right now. And it's just so weird to see David Lynch like in a prominent role in like a smaller movie. So I actually think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe John Carroll Lynch is actually in the new Twin Peaks. So I will bet you money that he probably suggested David Lynch to be in this movie. So that's kind of funny.
Yeah, probably. So, while they were on set one day, likely.
Yeah, exactly. They're just like, hey, I'm directing this movie. You want to be in it as the old curmudgeon friend? Sure. And that's how that went. All right, so I have to ask you gentlemen this. I will go to Cary first. Out of the whole month, if every single movie was erased from existence, you can only pick one, which one are you seeing in September 1st?
Well, I definitely want to see American Made, but I probably would have to go with Mother.
See, it's going to be between Mother and It, and I agree with you. Just because, like, I'm expecting great things from It. I have no idea what to expect from Mother, and I think that's what's more intriguing about it. And it's also Aronofsky, the guy that's, like, I believe one of the best working. So, Joel, what about you? What is your number one pick for September?
It's between your two, Chase, for me, but I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna say it. And a large part of it is because of a reason that I didn't actually mention. I knew that I was gonna pick this for September, and I wanted to mention it here, which is that the one of the major draws for me is the cinematographer, and because the cinematographer did The Handmaiden last year,
Mm-hmm.
that was one of my favorite films. It featured some of my favorite cinematography of the whole year, and he does really well with precision in his shots. And so I'm a nerd. Obviously, I'm a cinematography nerd. So I'm going with it because of that, and because of just the concept. It looks really freaking terrifying.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and Cary, I don't think we've discussed this, but did you see Annabelle Creation?
I did not.
Okay, so I saw it, and they actually had a 4-minute clip of it before it, and it was basically just Georgie talking to Pennywise in the sewer. Dude, Bill Skarsgård is freaky as shit. Like, he's talking to Georgie, he's like, Georgie, how are you doing? And, like, he's very friendly, and then he slowly starts to turn demonic, and you're like, oh, dear God, this movie's going to be amazing. And, of course, all the positive reactions from, Friday's screening have been pretty good, so, I'm looking forward to it quite a bit. So it looks like we're going to be terrified of clowns and bloody light bulbs and Ed Harris getting on with Michelle Pfeiffer in a bed. So, all right, let's move on to October. That was actually pretty brisk. I'm actually proud of ourselves. We didn't stray away too much because, like I was telling Cary, and you guys know this, Joel and I like to make Lord of the Rings long episodes to where we're almost like damn near 3 hours long. So that's pretty funny that we're actually on time today. All right, so Joel, I want you to explain to people why My Little Pony for the first week in October will be better and make way more money than Blade Runner 2049, The Florida Project, and that's it.
Okay, yeah. So basically, there are 3 movies here that are significant. There's Blade Runner 2049, which is basically 2 of the movies here are sort of connected by a thread, and that thread is that they are both adaptations, or well, not adaptations, new versions of semi-popular cult favorite 80s titles, and
that's
Blade
one
Runner.
thin thread that you're tying those 2 together.
Hey, I'm all about the segues, right? So
yeah, you're getting better on them.
there we go. But yeah, Blade Runner 2049, which is of course a sequel to it's a sequel to The Thing from no, I'm just kidding. It's a sequel to Blade Runner. And then My Little Pony the movie is the newest movie for My Little Pony. There we go.
Yeah, say that with a straight face.
And then the Florida Project is the one we talked about this last week because the trailer dropped, and that is Sean Baker's follow-up to Tangerine. So yeah, this is. I mean, I was about to say this is really tough to choose, but it's tough to choose only because of 2 of them. Because I think that they
My
both.
Little Pony and My Little Pony.
My Little Pony. There we go. No, I am seeing My Little Pony. I can admit that to y'all. Because I see stuff, and in fact, I'm going to be doing sort of themed research. I'm going to be watching the Pokemon movies, Digimon movie, the Hey Arnold movie, if I can find it, all that, just like kids shows turned into movies kind of thing. I'm just interested in the fact that they actually made this in 2017. It doesn't seem to fit into our current scene, I guess.
Oh, yes, it does. That brony culture is a real thing.
Yeah, true, but still, seems like it's died off a little bit. And but yeah, between the other 2, man, it's super hard to choose because I think Blade Runner 2049. I mean, obviously that's my thing. I love sci-fi. I love Blade Runner. I love Denis Villeneuve, however you say his name. The director of this one, I love the cast, but I mean, Tangerine was one of my favorite films of 2015, and The Florida Project looks wonderful. So it's kind of like a toss-up between the 2 for me. I might be more excited for The Florida Project, honestly.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you there because I'm not. I mean, Blade Runner's cool and everything, but it's just not really my thing. But I do love sci-fi. But I'm telling you, that trailer to The Florida Project was pretty damn good. So, Cary, I have to ask you, since you were born around when Jesus was walking around, which cut is your favorite of Blade Runner? Because I know that there's a controversy of, like, which one's better, the theatrical, the final cut, the director's cut. Like, which cut do you prefer, and are you looking forward to the sequel?
I am looking forward to the sequel, though the trailer I thought was a bit disappointing.
Really? Yeah. How so?
I don't know. Maybe my expectations were too high. I was just a little bit sort of underwhelmed.
Okay.
But I've actually only seen Blade Runner once, so I have not seen.
So you just saw the theatrical.
Okay. Yeah. But I'd have to say I'd have to agree with you and Joel. I'm really looking forward to the Florida project.
What do you think of that trailer? Do you think Willem Dafoe could kind of land like a supporting actor nod from that?
I hadn't thought about that. It's certainly possible. But I loved Tangerine.
See, I never saw Tangerine. Yeah. I told Joel that like it's still on my Netflix queue, so I will be watching one of these days. Like, how would you describe Tangerine? Like, what type of like movie was it?
Well, I mean, I have a sort of interest in movies about and set in L.A. Like, I love To Live and Die in L.A., for example. And it's set in a part of L.A. you don't see very much. Kind of this sort of if Straight Outta Compton was sort of more about South Central and Compton, this is kind of like the east side of Hollywood, but not the unglamorous side of Hollywood, and it's set within those few blocks. If you know LA, it's very, it tells that story very well, and I think it looks gorgeous.
Oh, it does. And that's what I was telling Joel. Like, I'd never seen Tangerine in my life, but I've seen the trailer, and the color palette is the same on both. And Michael Bay, are you listening? The Florida Project and Tangerine are great examples on how to use saturation to its advantage to poke out color and not make it to where you just want to poke out women's asses. So, Cary, I have to ask you one final question. This is very important for our listeners out there. The question of the century. Can you describe, in 30 seconds or less, what the fuck is up with the brony culture, and why is My Little Pony popular with people Joel and I's age?
I'd have to ask you that. I have no idea why you youngins love the pony so much.
Listen, I have a couple friends that live in in the kind of like Plano area or whatever, and I respect them dearly. I love them to death. They are bronies, and they watch the show, and they played 5 minutes of an episode, and I was like, this is like if Willy Wonka threw up and it just was super ADHD type of it did not appeal to me. So I was like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. Joel, tell Cary about your experience, because I remember you telling me because Joel texts me whatever he watches throughout the week, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna give My Little Pony a shot. And Joel, what was your reaction?
Yeah, so how I just mentioned that I'm going to be doing some themed research, and I'm just going to watch a bunch of kids movies or kids shows that became movies. The original plan was to watch as much My Little Pony as possible to just kind of get in the know before I saw it, because I felt like I'd be lost otherwise. Stuff like this can be buckets of exposition kind of thrown on you even in kids movies, and I was just wanting to not be lost, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to watch as much My Little Pony as possible. So I started it, and then I made it 10 minutes into the first episode and turned it off. So yeah, I could not stand it. It's stuff like this is often harmless, but this was garish and annoying. All the characters were voiced as kind of shrill, high voiced little whatevers, and it's just annoying. And I'm gonna see the movie. I'm gonna tolerate 99 minutes of My Little Pony in the theater.
It's true. Joel enjoyed the shrills so much that when I saw him once again, he was wearing a hearing aid. So that October 6th, Florida Project is our pick, but Blade Runner. So I have to ask Cary this, because Joel and I kind of have. Joel, do we have a? Well, I'll get to Joel in a second. Joel doesn't matter. Cary, this is really tough because Blade Runner 2049 I think has a budget of like $200 million. Do you think, since the first one did flop in theaters and it really only gained success on video and it kind of gained this cult status, I mean, knowing how the box office works in terms of doubling it and adding marketing and whatnot, we're probably looking at a $500 million plus price tag to break even. Do you think this movie can do it?
I think it's going to be tough, but I think it's going to do better theatrically than the first one did.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, just because of who the director is, you got Harrison Ford, you got Ryan Gosling. But yeah, I think it's gonna be tough to reach that.
Yeah,
it's gonna have to have long legs, unless it's the word of mouth is really, really good on it. It may not reach that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The only thing good, like, if Denis Villeneuve was not nominated for an Oscar last year, no one would know who the fuck he is. And the fact that his name is on here, people are like, oh yeah, I think that was the guy from Arrival. It might help it a little bit. But yeah, you're right. Dude, Alcon, listen, I don't know who's running your company, but the fact that you poured in $100 million into that Point Break remake, and now you're pouring $200 million into this, where are you getting your money? Like, please tell me. Like, who the fuck is, like, ghost investing you to keep your doors open? Because it just makes no sense to me. So, yeah, Florida Project is the winner for this weekend. Next weekend, what the hell? All right, so the next weekend we have The Snowman, starring Michael Fassbender and Rebecca Ferguson, and it is based on a novel. Basically, Michael Fassbender solves a murder that is kind of linked to a chain of murders that is made by a guy that likes to do snowman type of shit. We have Thurgood Marshall's biopic, Marshall, with Chadwick Boseman, who is now played 3 fucking people. What is with this guy? We have James Brown. We have Jackie Robinson, and now Thurgood Marshall. It's like who is his agent? Like, they're just like, he can only do biopics and Black Panther. So
it's pretty good.
I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good little deal. And then of course The Foreigner, which looks basically terrible, with Jackie Chan and Pierce Brosnan, and directed by Martin Campbell. Martin Campbell, you directed one of the best James Bond movies, and now you're like directing garbage. And that it looks like The November Man 2 with Jackie Chan edition. So out of all the ones, I gotta be honest with you, Marshall looks really good. And I want Chadwick Boseman to finally get recognized for one of these 3 roles that he's portraying and whatnot. And I think with everything going on with society and whatnot, I think Marshall has a good chance to really kind of stand out, because movies like Hidden Figures and stuff last year did very well. But I'm a Michael Fassbender fan. I love the Snowman trailer. It's fucking creepy as hell. The kind of sound design to it just like always gets under my skin, especially when you watch that shit in the theater, and it's kind of like got that and like it has like that really like ghostly like flavor to it, especially when they're out in the snow like that. It's just absolutely horrifying because no one can fucking hear you. So, Cary, I will go to you first. Which one looks good to you? Have you seen the trailer to Snowman and Marshall?
I have. I've seen both trailers. I think Marshall, I think it's going to be the more kind of standard biopic. Mm-hmm. But I think in terms of box office, I think it could be, like you said, the Hidden Figures of the fall. I think if his performance is good, if word of mouth is good, I think it could be, and Reginald Hudlin, So I think it could be, that could be the hit. Mm. The Snowman, I think it depends, again, on the word of mouth on it. If people feel that there's a payoff in a thriller like that. But it looks intriguing.
So I have to ask you, because we like to get controversial on this shit, as a black gentleman, like, do you think like this is like the best time for like all these like movies to start to come out, that deal with like civil rights and whatnot? Because like last year we had a pretty good helping hand with a lot of them, and with especially who's running in office right now, like I think it's like almost like Hollywood kind of doing a fuck you to the White House right now. And
but I mean, these were put into production, probably at least 2 years ago, and then Detroit was a big flop. So
did you like Detroit?
I had mixed feelings about Detroit.
So you and Joel were on the same page. I absolutely loved it. I think out of the all the kind of real life event movies I've seen this year, that's my favorite. Just to be honest with you. So, but I'm looking forward to Marshall, and I hope it just kind of wakes people up a little bit, because Thurgood Marshall was a very important figure. So,
but I like the fact that they turned him into like an action hero in the trailer.
Yeah,
he's beating people up.
I know. Especially with that movie that he's got on Netflix right now, where I heard he beats people with a bike chain. So Chadwick Boseman, man, he's just beating people up. So Joel, what about you? I know we've talked about the Snowman trailer before, and I don't think we've talked about the Marshall trailer. We might have. I'm not really sure. Which one are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm actually going to be controversial here and say that I'm looking forward to all 3 movies that you mentioned.
Yeah, sure you are.
I am. No, I genuinely am. I think The Foreigner looks like a lot of fun. It looks like Jackie Chan trying to branch out a bit.
Well, he's tried this before and it hasn't been too successful.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I know that. I mean, that's obviously well, see, I liked him in The Karate Kid. I think that he nailed some pretty dramatic stuff there. It's not a very good movie, but I thought that he was pretty good in it. And so I think that this trying to branch out into a role that obviously utilizes his obvious talent, but in a more dramatic fashion than some of the comedies that he's been involved with, like the Legend of the Drunken Master movies, and that kind of thing, is pretty interesting. It doesn't look great or whatever, but I'm probably not going to see it in theaters, but it'd be one I rent, in a heartbeat. But obviously the other two are much more interesting. I think Marshall looks pretty good. Chadwick Boseman, I haven't liked either of the movies that he's been in where he played a real life character, but I liked him in those roles. And so maybe, hopefully this will be also a good movie. But I'm certainly looking forward to it. It has a promising trailer. And then my clear pick is The Snowman, which I think looks absolutely terrific. I'm a huge Alfredson fan, whatever. The director of the movie who did Let the Right One In and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Okay. Big fan of those. And I just have to note, and then I'll give it up, that Michael Fassbender plays a character named Harry Hole, which is a great name. It's a great name. Anyway, but it looks freaky and terrifying, and the whole concept is just about mortifying. I think it's really freaky, and but yeah, I'm to some degree, in all completely different degrees, I'm looking forward to all three of them.
It's going to be very controversial, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. The Snowman looks like a better Wind River. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So actually,
I think it's going to be very different.
Well, I mean, in terms of like just kind of like solving murder, kind of out in the snow and shit. Like I feel like this one will probably be the better one. Did you watch Wind River?
I did see Wind River.
Did you like it?
I did. I didn't like it as much as the writers' other two. Yeah. I mean, I love Sicario and Hell or High Water, so it would be my least favorite of the three, but I still liked it.
We all agree on that because Joel and I were like we're super high on like Sicario
I wasn't able to recommend Wind River. I think it drops the ball majorly in the third act, and I think it loses a lot of its luster. But I think Jeremy Renner's great. This one is certainly in the same vein, in terms of just broadly it's a thriller set in the snow and all that. It's obviously going to go in a different direction.
Well, but, I would hope so.
with apparently, I guess it's just really freaky. And if you watch the trailer, there's a method of leaving bodies in this movie that is terrifying.
Oh, it's fucking awesome. Like I love like murder mysteries, and so when you watch it and it starts, it's like very basic, and then once you, like Joel said, once you find out how he kills him, it's like, oh Jesus.
Well, yeah. How he stages the bodies, it's just it's freaking terrifying. I can't wait for that.
It's so great. So Joel, so for next weekend, I know Joel is super excited to jump into that Geostorm talk. So Joel, what do we got?
Yeah, we actually have. This is a pretty packed weekend. So we've got Insidious Chapter 4. Wait, is that still coming out? Because it's noted as 2018 here. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's probably pushed because I believe it was supposed to. Oh, okay. It's January 5th.
Okay. Axe that. No Insidious Chapter 4. In fact, I'm probably not going to be seeing it because I honestly I saw the first one, and then I can't remember if I saw the second one, and I definitely didn't see the third one, so I'm probably not seeing that, but that's not part of it. There's Wonderstruck, which is Todd Haynes' Carol follow-up, and this one is a PG-rated movie about it's sort of taking place in two time periods. One is in the Midwest, and then the other one is in New York 50 years ago. It's got a great cast, Julianne Moore, Michelle Williams, so I'm excited for that one. The trailer was wonderful. There's The Mountain Between Us. Oh, another little thin thread thing here. We've got two action survival disaster movies here. The Mountain Between Us.
Gee, which one looks better? This one's really tough, guys.
Okay. Well, this is going to be another controversial segment. Okay.
Oh, Jesus. Joel, you need to take a break. Go get some water or whatever. Go to the bathroom because you're obviously high. Like, what the fuck? Explain yourself.
Okay. The Mountain Between Us is got Idris Elba and Kate Winslet. They are stranded after plane crash, and they, no help is coming. So one of them's getting married, the other one's got emergency surgery. So it's obviously going to have a lot of stakes. And then we have Geostorm, which I think looks like a blast, and it's a completely dumb movie, but obviously, but it's about two things actually. One is a disaster movie involving a network of satellites that start to attack Earth, which is interesting, and also a presidential assassination plot. So there's two different things happening here. Completely separate from each other, but it's got this really weird cast with a lot of people that don't seem to fit in this kind of movie, like Gerard Butler and Abby Cornish and all these people.
Whoa. Gerard Butler fits perfectly in this movie when you have, like, his Olympus Has Fallen series, when he's in, like,
That's
pretty
true.
much, like, a bunch of crap movies in general.
I guess it's more like Gerard Butler and the other people.
Andy Garcia is, like, the baffling one to me.
Yeah, and Ed Harris is in it. And then there's that comedian guy, isn't there? What's his name? I'm gonna look. Hold on. There's a guy who's primarily known for comedy in this movie. I'm gonna look up his name. Eugenio Derbez. I think he does a lot of Spanish comedies. So that's a neat little. Jim Sturgis is in it.
That's right.
So. Anyway, I'm just excited because it looks dumb and over the top, and like there's a lot of visual effects and stuff, and it looks silly. And anyway,
it looks like The Day After Tomorrow, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's from the director of basically the person that has been next to Roland Emmerich's side since Independence Day. So
yeah, I mean, hey, it's a perfect fit. And then also an awful looking movie called Same Kind of Different as Me.
But that has a Texas connection, though, Fort Worth connection.
Yeah, I mean it looks bad.
Yeah, it's been delayed like twice. So
yeah,
really, I've never even heard of it until I just now brought it up.
Yeah, it's based on a best-selling novel about this guy who helps a homeless man. It's based on a true story.
Oh, okay.
It was originally supposed to come out last year, I think, right? And then it got delayed to like April, and then now it's finally coming out. If it even comes out, It might be a Tulip Fever situation. We don't know yet. But yeah, it looks really bad, like a parody of itself or something. It's bad.
If it's not as bad as we think it is, it actually could do fairly well, I think, with like kind of the faith-based audience.
Possibly so. Yeah, it could be one of those that's not terrible, like Miracles from Heaven or something. And maybe you could catch on. That's Miracles from Heaven is certainly not God's Not Dead. Let's just say. But yeah, and then Chase, I'll let you have your way with the last weekend.
Well, Joel, we have to discuss.
Yeah.
Cary's sitting over here waiting to talk, and you're just like, well, fuck that guy. We're moving on. So, Cary, I guess first thing, have you seen the trailer to The Mountain Between Us? I
have. It looks. I'm really intrigued by this director because he's a Palestinian director who did Omar and a few other movies. Foreign language movies.
This is kind of like his first American film.
Right. So I'll be interested to see what he does, and like Idris Elba, of course. And Kate Winslet. So I think it looks interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely my pick and not Geostorm, Joel. Geostorm looks like a clusterfuck. Like, they just had, like, a bunch of ideas, like, from back in the day, and Dean Devlin was like, don't worry, Roland, I got your back, fam. I'll make it. And I'll just make this, like, blender of a movie. The Wonderstruck is, like, the weird one to me because the trailer's very good, but I always, like, find it weird to see a director go from, like, a sexual R-rated film to a PG film. It's a family film. Did you see Carol from a couple years ago?
Yeah, I did.
Did you like it?
I did, very much.
So you're looking forward to Wonderstruck?
Yes, I am.
What did you think of the trailer with the time jumping?
It looks good. I like time travel sort of movies. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like a nice, like, wholesome, like, family drama. Like that. This is the type of film that actually I disagree with the release date. It should have been released in December. When you watch the trailer, it feels like a Christmas movie almost. So, and then Geostorm. Moving on to the next weekend, we have this one. Okay, listen. Next weekend,
I'm curious to hear what Cary about Geostorm.
Don't worry.
What did you think of that trailer?
Cary doesn't care about Geostorm. Cary, do you like disaster movies? And are you looking forward to Geostorm?
I do like disaster movies, but I'm not looking forward to Geostorm.
See, there it is, Joel. I didn't really have to ask him. All right, so No, the trailer's
You're betraying me, Cary.
Every time when I see the trailer and they play like that kind of like happy rock music, I'm like, why? There's people dying, you assholes. So, yeah. So October 27th, we have one of my most anticipated movies of the year that is actually not a joke. It is Jigsaw, and it's actually directed by the Spielberg brothers, which I actually really enjoy their filmography, because they did films like, hold on, Daybreakers was really good, and Predestination. Predestination was a great little surprise. I actually really liked that movie quite a bit. Jigsaw is the 8th film in the Saw franchise. No, that is not a joke. And I actually really enjoy the whole Saw franchise, so you can yell at me in the comments. I'm actually looking forward to it. I want to see where they take it. It's kind of like my Halloween tradition. I always like seeing them. And besides the first 3 Paranormal Activities, I would choose the Saw franchise any day. So if you're going to throw me anything that weekend, I'm going to take that one. And it says here, which wouldn't even surprise me, considering the fact that 10 Cloverfield Lane came out in March and they dropped the trailer 2 months before. It says there's a Cloverfield movie October 27th that takes place in space. I've heard about this. I think it was called The God Particle or whatever for a while. There's not really much about it. It's just it's in space, and it's going to deal with the Cloverfield universe, which, I mean, like I said, the fact that there's no trailer doesn't shock me, because like I said, when 10 Cloverfield Lane came out, not only was it a hit in March, its trailer dropped 2 months before, so we'll probably get the trailer soon, but Cary...
It says 2018 there, though.
2018? What the fuck? Hold on. So Cary and I both have glasses, and apparently I'm the blind one. Okay, so it says February 2nd. Never mind.
Yeah,
but that seems like a J.J. Abrams move, though, to like fool us and then fucking drop it like next week. So who knows? It's probably 2018 though, but I wish it would be this weekend. But Jigsaw, Cary, can you look me in the face right now and tell me why I'm wrong for liking the Saw franchise?
I have not seen the entire franchise.
Oh,
just the first one.
Well, because we really never discussed it. You know, I'm a huge fan of this franchise. Like, did you think it was like a decent little horror film?
I thought the first one was, but like I said, I haven't seen the others, but don't really feel compelled to see them.
Which is fine with me, because this is going to sound very weird. Cary, I don't want you to watch the others. I want you to have like that, at least like decent praise for the first one, and then that's it. Because I don't want you to watch the rest and then feel like super betrayed. So I want you to just have that thought in your mind that the first one, it's decent. Let's move on. So Joel, are you excited for me to pretty much have a hard-on the entire time while we're reviewing this movie that weekend?
Well, you have to go to the doctor for that.
Well, we did record for almost 4 hours.
I'm not looking forward to it. We've covered this. I'm going to be seeing the rest of the movies because this is the big release, and we'll review it on the show and all that. So I'll do my due diligence and catch up with the others. Simply because there might be some detail in there, in the other movies that's important that I might get lost on.
Listen, this is my Star Wars. I love little franchises like this. I've been a fan of it since 2003 or 4, whenever the first one came out. I've seen every single one of them in theaters. I know, weird, right? It's kind of like, it's been my thing. I'm looking forward to it. And this is also a testament to the directors. Like, I thought Predestination was a really cool little sci-fi film, and I actually like Daybreakers quite a bit. That's a cool vampire take. So I'm looking forward to see what they do with it and see if they continue it on or whatnot, but we'll see. All right, so moving on to November, before we get into that, gentlemen, it's pretty slim pickings for this month. Cary, I'll go to you first. Which is your October pick?
Well, I would say My Little Pony, but I'm probably going to go with Florida Project.
Okay, so I know Joel's going to go with My Little Pony, so I don't even need to ask him. My pick, I'm just kidding, Joel. I'll get to you in a second. My pick, it's probably going to be the Florida Project, but The Snowman's a close second. I just really love that trailer quite a bit. I know it's really weird that we're picking those movies over the $200 million budgeted Blade Runner. So, Joel, which one is tickling your pickle for this month?
In my nerd way, obviously Blade Runner, but I'm going to say because of the trailers, for everything here, I'm going to say the Florida Project.
Okay.
Just because of how amazed I was by Tangerine. It's a great work of compassionate storytelling that's also a lot of fun and really funny. And if Baker brings that kind of energy to this, then I'm so down, and I'm excited. So.
Awesome. All right, so Joel, let's go ahead and kick off November. I'll let you go. We actually have a couple great ones coming out this week on November 3rd. What do we got?
Well, obviously the best one is A Bad Mom's Christmas. No, I'm just kidding.
You can go fuck yourself, and you are now fired.
No, but this one is, of course, I don't even know if it's a sequel. It's technically a spin-off, I guess, even though they haven't had a sequel. But it's a Christmas-themed spin-off of the Bad Moms franchise with all of the characters in it, and they're meeting their mothers for Christmas. It looks bad, whatever. The next one is Thor Ragnarok. This one had my favorite teaser trailer of the whole year. Specifically teaser trailer. I've seen a couple better trailers, but teaser trailers, this one's my favorite of the whole year. It looks like a lot of fun. It's apparently going to be like 95 minutes, which is interesting, because most of these movies have been more than 2 hours or right under 2 hours. So
which is always giving Cary a heart attack, the fact that they go too long.
Right, and then honestly, like, the one that I might be most excited for is The Killing of a Sacred Deer. I had such a strong reaction to that trailer that we talked about last week, and it's from A24, and it's got a great cast. It's got an interesting cast. We talked about Colin Farrell and Nicole Kidman, but Alicia Silverstone's in this.
Yeah,
which is interesting. I like that she's getting work. So that isn't like Batgirl and that Alex Rider Operation Stormbreaker thing that came out 10 years ago or so.
Yeah, thanks for pinpointing like the only two out of her career. Apparently, she's been acting for a while.
Work since Clueless. I mean, it's just been mostly like some TV stuff, and then the odd movie, and now she's in a Yorgos Lanthimos movie with a bunch of people that are famous, that are popular right now, and it's just interesting. So, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of a toss-up, honestly. I am very excited for Thor Ragnarok, despite some superhero movie fatigue setting in, because I think that one looks like a lot of fun. Like this whole year for Marvel has been Marvel having fun. They had fun with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It was mostly kind of a bottle episode, and then Spider-Man Homecoming was a bottle episode, and it was a lot of fun. And now this one seems to be a bottle episode, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm excited for both of these, but I gotta go with The Killing of a Sacred Deer. I just am too excited for that.
It's a really good trailer, so I gotta go to Cary. Every time when a superhero film comes out, I have to get the man's opinion because he doesn't really like many of them. So have you seen both of the trailers to Thor Ragnarok? Are you excited for it?
I am excited for Thor Ragnarok.
Thank God. All right, we can move on.
You're shocked by that.
I know, right?
I'm a big fan of the director, Taika Waititi.
Yeah, Taika Waititi's
so I'm
awesome.
really looking forward to it.
Yeah, did you like The Hunt for the Wilder People last year?
I did, very much.
Yeah. Was it last year? You and I saw it at South by in that cramped little room in those crampy ass chairs. Like, I still remember, like, I had a fucking cramp. I was like, dude, I can't watch a movie like this. It was funny because when we saw it, Taika Waititi couldn't be there because he was filming Thor Ragnarok, and he actually had like a message or whatever. So it was really cool to see. So yeah, for that for sure. Have you seen the trailer to The Killing?
I haven't seen the trailer for it, but I'm looking forward to it.
It's a really good, like Joel put it perfectly last week. It's a perfect teaser. Like it sets tone, atmosphere, mood. And did you like The Lobster?
I liked parts of it.
Wasn't.
I know a lot of people really loved it. I didn't really love it.
I'm kind of with you. Like, I thought it was like a decent little dark comedy. Didn't really blow my mind. But just talking to Yorgos, because I saw it at Fantastic Fest and he was walking the carpet. He seemed like a pretty kind of creative dude. Like, he was just hearing him talk about The Lobster and how he came up with the idea. I'm just like, dude, I want to like sit down and see how this guy's mind works. And he co-wrote this one as well. So. I'm looking forward to it, but I mean, come on, guys. I gotta go with Thor. That trailer is absolutely amazing. I love the color palette. It basically looks like Guardians of the Galaxy on crack. The fact that Taika Waititi has gone from like 2 smaller releases that have been pretty well praised to this big ass like blockbuster. It's not like rare or anything, but it's still just interesting that they picked him to do this because there is a lot of comedy in the trailer. But when you watch the trailer, there is a lot of really cool like Norse mythology type of shots that really like making me more interested in it, especially with Cate Blanchett as Hela. So yeah, I'm obviously gonna have to go with that pick. Oh, I've heard there's someone in the background saying, "Why don't we talk about Bad Moms Christmas?" Moving on. No, listen. I thought Bad Moms, the first one, was fine. It was actually a better surprise than I thought. And Catherine Hahn was, I mean, that woman needs to marry me pronto. But she was the best part about it. Bad Moms Christmas, that trailer just looks so terrible. Cary, I have to ask you before we move on, does it disturb you that Bad Moms literally came out a year ago and they rushed the sequel?
That's not surprising.
Oh.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, you figure they would have the courtesy to wait 2 years.
I mean, it takes 5 minutes to write the script. So.
Yeah, it's written and directed by the guys that did the first Hangover, and as much as I like the first Hangover, most of the stuff they've done afterwards have not been good. So, John Lucas and Scott Moore, please retire. But
Catherine Hahn's not going to marry you now.
Oh,
I didn't even like the first Hangover, and I think that they did the 21 and over a couple years ago, and I thought that was awful. So I'm not a fan of theirs, and yeah, I'm probably not seeing it, honestly. I might make that weekend for the other two if The Killing of the Sacred Deer opens wide. I don't know if it is, but
we'll probably get a screening to that.
Probably, or a screener or something.
A screener or something, yeah. So, Cary, just because I badmouth the directors doesn't mean Catherine Hahn won't marry me. That woman is amazing. She is hilarious, and I've loved her ever since she peed in a urinal in Step Brothers. Yes, that was my first time I got introduced. All right, so moving on to November 10th, we have a lot coming out. We have Daddy's Home 2, which is a sequel, obviously. Red Sparrow, which was the movie I just got done talking about a little while ago with Jennifer Lawrence. She plays a CIA agent. It's basically, or do what?
Hey Chase. So
what
they need to update this page, but it's not coming out this year.
Oh, fuck. Dude, I'm so fucking blind. Like, yeah, they do need to update it.
Yeah, it comes out next March, but the big one that they are like omitting, and I don't know how or why, they have it listed for the 24th. Hold on, maybe it does come out on it. Yeah, see, they got it wrong. It's Murder on the Orient Express is opening that week.
On November 10th?
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry about that. Anyways, well, it's right to talk about the Red Sparrow because, like I was telling you guys, like it's nice that Jennifer Lawrence took a back seat a little bit. Now he's doing 2 smaller films, but whatever. Yeah, they need to update it. So Daddy's Home 2, Murder on the Orient Express, and The Star looks terrible. All right, so I guess we'll start with Daddy's Home 2. Cary, did you see the first one, and did you like Mark Wahlberg doing Mark Wahlberg?
I didn't see the first one.
Good for you. No, this one they meet their fathers basically, and Mel Gibson and John Lithgow are in it. The trailer wasn't bad. It actually made me chuckle, which I don't want to say that on air, but it did. And of course, Murder on the Orient Express. They've only had one teaser, so we can't really judge it from that point. But did you watch that teaser, and have you seen the original?
I have. I like the trailer for this one.
Yeah,
and it's
very simple with that long kind of dolly shot, just like introducing everyone.
All the characters.
It was fun. Yeah,
it's very effective.
Yeah, and then have you seen the trailer to the atrocity known as The Star?
I don't know if it's an atrocity. I mean, it's a Christmas kids movie. So.
That's cute. All right, so obviously my pick is Murder on the Orient Express, even though it's only had a teaser, but I would still choose that over Daddy's Home 2. Joel, why do you like Daddy's Home 2 over Murder on the Orient Express?
You are a liar. No, I did not see the first Daddy's Home. I doubt that I'll have.
You and Cary dodged a bullet then.
Yeah, it's of no interest to me. The Star looks harmless. It doesn't look good, but it looks harmless. I saw the trailer for it in front of, I think, the Emoji Movie.
Oh yeah.
And I think it was. Anyway, looks harmless. Doesn't look good. Whatever. It's got a neat cast, I guess, for something like this.
All right.
It's a new angle to take on that story. But Murder on the Orient, blah 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 blah. Murder on the Orient Express, because I can't talk, is obviously the standout. I mean, it's one of my favorite novels. It's a great mystery. It has a lot to say, and it's got a great cast, which keeps it. I haven't seen the original film. I got to do that because I'm a big fan of Sidney Lumet. But I mean, keeping in line with that, it has a really starry cast that is just one famous person after another.
Does it disturb you? Because you and I discussed this when we talked about the trailer. Johnny Depp does kind of look like he's doing his Mordecai impression. So does that kind of worry you a little bit, Cary?
Yeah, that is kind of disturbing.
Because he kind of looks like him. Yeah.
But I have faith in Kenneth Branagh that
he's a good,
kept him in check.
He's a good director.
He's the perfect director for this material.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. But just opening up the trailer with Mordecai does not give you any promises. But I'm excited to see. And I told Joel this. Like, I know I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, but I'm always curious to see where the actors kind of go after Star Wars. And I want to see Daisy Ridley in more stuff. So she is also intriguing for me on that one. So Joel, the next weekend, November 17th, is not only the 4-year anniversary episode, but we got a big fucking movie coming out. What is it?
Yeah, man, it's the multi-million-dollar blockbuster Wonder.
Oh, yeah, of course.
No, I'm just kidding. I'll get to the other one in a second, but Wonder is from the director of The Perks of Being a Wallflower, Stephen Chbosky. I met him a few years ago. Nicest guy in the world, and this is a great avenue for him. Better avenue than co-writing Beauty and the Beast. And I'm very excited for it. It's got Jacob Tremblay, Julia Roberts, and Owen Wilson as his parents. Mandy Patinkin's in there. So I'm excited for it. Looks solid. But obviously the big movie is the one that can't seem to find a good trailer for it, and that's Justice League. Obviously I'm excited for this. It's kind of a nerd dream come true. For anybody who's ever read any comic whatsoever or been involved in anything involving comics, is to see all of the Justice League heroes together. It kind of looks like a garbage fire to me, but whatever. I'm still excited. And so great cast for sure.
Yeah. Let's just knock Wonder out of the way, because I know Cary's got a lot of stuff to say about Justice League, and we're going to fight a little bit. Wonder looks really good. I like Stephen Chbosky quite a bit. Dude, Perks of Being a Wallflower was such a great movie. Like, that's where I discovered Ezra Miller for the first time, and he absolutely kills in that movie. So does Emma Watson, as always. But this one looks really like charming and sweet and stuff. Jacob Tremblay looks really great, and of course Owen Wilson. This guy, like, he's such a mixed bag, like, with his career for the past, like, 5 years. Like, he's in a shit movie one moment, and then he's, like, it looks like a pretty decent movie the next. So, Cary, let's knock Wonder out of the way first. Did you watch the trailer to this one?
I did. I mean, if you just took this plot, it could be very much a kind of generic after-school special, Lifetime movie sort of thing. But with this cast and this writer, I haven't read the novel, but people say it's very good. I have high hopes for it.
Yeah, it looks really great. All right, so let's knock that one out of the way. Justice League, Cary. Now, Cary doesn't really care for anything that has happened so far in this universe, except for maybe Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and I'm not the biggest Zack Snyder fan either.
Yep, so that's where we're going to argue. Listen, I've said this before, and I'll say it again, because I argue with Cary all the time about it. I actually think Man of Steel is the best interpretation of that character, Sue Me, and then I actually like the ultimate cut of BVS, Sue Me. But we do agree, Suicide Squad can go suck a giant dick, because that was terrible. With Justice League, I have to ask you. Unfortunately, Zack Snyder had to step away for family issues. So question one, do you think Joss Whedon can right the ship to make you actually like this movie? And two, who's actually going to get credit for this?
Would they both get credit?
I think DGA rule says that you have to do at least 60% of the shooting.
And wasn't most of it shot by the time...
most of it was shot by the time Zack Snyder left, but the problem was, I think Joss Whedon did a lot of reshoots on it.
But I don't know if it's going to be enough to right that ship. I mean, it starts with the script, and I don't know. I just don't have that much faith.
What have you been thinking of the trailers so far in the promotional?
The trailers haven't thrilled me either.
Really?
They look pretty generic to me.
I mean, is there... I'm trying to get like some type of positive nugget out of you. Like, I mean, since we're introducing a lot of new characters to us, do you like the look of Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller in this, and Ray Fisher?
I mean, Wonder Woman surprised me, so maybe this one will as well. But
do you like the fact that Warner Bros. Is kind of putting her in the front now, since she is the highest-grossing movie out of all of them and whatnot?
I mean, I guess that's interesting, but I still don't think that the basic story is going to be all that interesting.
Well, I mean, like I knock your age all the time, but like you grew up around like Marvel and DC Comics and whatnot. Like, were you ever a fan of like either or like have you liked the Batman Superman?
I was never a huge comic book person, so we've talked about this.
Yeah, of course. I just I'm hoping it's at least decent. That way, like people like Cary can be like, that wasn't bad. I just want to. It wasn't bad from Cary. I don't want like it was great or anything. I just want it wasn't bad.
I liked Wonder Woman. What do you? So,
yeah, I mean, so do you like seeing that? Does that kind of like make your excitement just like a hair like going up?
No, because Zack Snyder's involved.
Okay, so I know that we're gonna argue that until the sun goes down, but yeah, I mean, I told Joel this like when we did the Comic-Con trailers, I actually I thought the Thor trailer was way better than the Justice League trailer. It had fun moments, but it does look a little video gamey, like Joel kind of pointed out. It doesn't have like, I don't know, it just doesn't have like that separation that you would want from the other movies. I know it's weird for me to say because I do like the style of BVS and Man of Steel, but maybe I am getting a little tired of like just that overblown like CGI kind of like Zack Snyder-y thing for the comic book movies. I think it's genius to get someone else in there. Maybe they can have a little bit more creative freedom to change up the look. I have no clue.
I don't think he's going to be able to change that much. I think
unfortunately, since Zach did all pre-pro, did most of the principal photography, I mean, it's going to be his vision. I mean, I understand that, but hopefully, since Wonder Woman was kind of like a hit, and they're going to put her in the front now instead of Batman, who knows? It could be good. So, but yeah, that will be the 4-year anniversary episode, so that will be a lot of fun. Joel, I'm assuming, like, I mean, because you and I pretty much agree on Wonder Woman. Like, it was a pretty, good comic book movie and whatnot. Like, I mean, is there any positivity out of you either? Like, is there anything you're looking forward to in Justice League? I'm just confused because, like, I know Cary's an old curmudgeon. He's never going to like it. So, but you are my beloved co-host. Is there anything in this movie that you're looking forward to?
Well, the general fact of the superheroes coming together is exciting. But, I mean, I'm with Cary in that it comes down to the screenplay, because when you get to the end of the day, stuff like uniting superheroes is fan service at its core. It's all about the effort put into the movie, and the trailers are just, it's nothing against the movie itself. Obviously, we haven't seen it, but and so we can judge it then. But the trailers are not promising, and the story is basically the Avengers over again. I mean, it's uniting to fight a common enemy, and that's about it. And one we haven't even met yet, which is a bit of a gamble. And I mean, I will say, like, in terms of that villain, the fact that Ciarán Hinds is playing him is pretty neat. He's got the right voice for, in the trailer. Obviously, the second trailer, I think that he's probably the best thing about it. The telling them that there's no hope and all that. That's pretty neat, but it just looks very generic, and it looks like a video game kind of, in that the visual effects they don't seem very precise or well done. I mean, I know that it's still in post-production, but it's just not a promising trailer. And I've made it clear on here before that for me, the trailer is not directly proportional to my excitement. So whatever the state the trailer's in, that doesn't dictate the movie's quality at all. But it's just, obviously it could be good, but it just doesn't seem very promising right now. Whereas I was always pretty excited for Wonder Woman, and it succeeded. I have problems with it, but it's
of course
a good movie. And so yeah, I mean, if this can be as good as Wonder Woman, I'll be happy. But it just, there's a lot that about this movie that is worrisome, and so that's all.
I like I said, I totally get that. It will be very interesting to actually see the final product because we've heard so many things about this, whether it be the reshoots, Zack Snyder leaving, or that poor innocent man, or probably a team of people that got to remove Henry Cavill's mustache in post-production. Dear God, they probably got the hardest job ever. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to it still. It'll be an interesting conversation, especially if, like, I hated it and, like, Joel loved it. Like, Jesus Christ, what kind of upside-down world are we living in? So, yeah, so that will be the big movie that weekend.
I will say that, unlike Cary, I am a Zack Snyder fan. Or I guess an apologist, whatever the term you want to call it.
Hey, listen, I've always vouched for the man. Like, the only bad one that I just didn't like was Sucker Punch. Other than that, I've actually liked all of his movies.
I'm actually a big fan of Sucker Punch too. So I'm a fan of his movies pretty much straight through. Sorry, Cary. I know that this is a terrible tale.
Yeah, Cary just like audibly groaned and like flipped you off through the microphone, so that's what he did. So yeah, I mean, like I said, we'll see. So that is the 4-year anniversary episode. Very special indeed. November 24th, the next week, we have a lot coming out. We have Coco, which is the new Pixar film, co-directed by the Toy Story 3 Homer, Lee Unkrich or whatever, and that is always exciting. Call Me by Your Name, the Armie Hammer picture, the trailer we talked about a couple weeks ago, which was really great. And of course, Darkest Hour, not The Darkest Hour, because that was a really shit movie from a few years ago. So Darkest Hour with good old Gary Oldman playing Winston Churchill. Cary, I must divulge to you first. We have a couple smaller ones, and we have the bigger one. Are you looking forward to the next Pixar adventure, Coco?
Yeah, I actually haven't seen the trailer for this. So,
really?
No.
Actually, that's probably good. Just stay away from it. Just kind of go in blind.
But yeah, it's Pixar, and there's, they rarely do anything that's horrible. So
correct. Well, a very subpar one I didn't really care for was The Good Dinosaur.
Oh yeah, I heard that was bad. I didn't see it.
I didn't really care for that one. But Inside Out was like probably one of my favorite anime movies I've seen of this decade so far. I absolutely love it. So, but Day of the Dead, do you think? Yes, it's got the Pixar name on it, but do you think it's a little too close to that movie Book of Life that came out a couple years ago?
I don't know how many people really actually remember. I mean,
I do. It was a good little film. Del Toro produced it.
I don't think it's gonna have any effect on this.
You're right, because it's Pixar. They can pretty much open with literally the same exact movie or something else, and be like, oh, it's Pixar. So,
but then that was like what, 4 years ago now, anyway.
Yeah, it was like I think it was 2014. So yeah, it was a few years ago. So it's definitely got enough distance. So out of the smaller ones, have you seen the trailer to both of these?
I haven't seen the trailers for these.
Really? Are you a fan of Armie Hammer? I don't think we've ever talked about him.
I mean, I like him. Okay, I didn't really like the last one I saw him in. He played the soldier who couldn't.
Oh, Mine.
Mine.
Yeah. I actually liked this. The second half of that movie more than the first half, and a lot of people disagree with me. Like, no, I actually liked it when he wasn't hallucinating. I liked that part of the story, but I want to start a dumpster fire because that's what I do on the show. Joel, can you please argue with Cary as to why Free Fire is one of the best movies of the year? And Cary, can you argue with Joel why you did not like Free Fire? Go. I just instigated folks. This is what I do.
Why are we talking about Free Fire?
Because it's Armie Hammer, and I know you didn't fucking like that movie.
Well, neither did much of America, apparently. It was a huge flop.
Oh, damn, Joel. That was a huge stab in your back, son.
No. America is wrong. It's a great
America's always wrong. Armie Hammer's been in a lot of movies, whether it be The Social Network or Free Fire. He's a very, he's a good actor. Do you think this could be the one to kind of catapult him into people actually talking about him now?
That's a possibility.
I've heard pretty great things from this, and I feel like if he knocks it out of the park, he could be nominated for this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of looking forward to this. So.
And what about the Winston Churchill biopic?
Gary Oldman as Churchill. I mean, and Ben Mendelsohn. I love Ben Mendelsohn, so that's definitely probably be my favorite.
Are you a fan of Joe Wright and his movies?
Yeah, I am.
I'm kind of so-so on him, but Darkest Hour, the trailer, it looks like Gary Oldman's really trying for that Oscar. I don't blame him. If I had to pick one out of the two, I actually am looking forward to the Armie Hammer one more. But that's just kind of my thoughts on that. And Coco, I like the Book of Life, but it will be nice to see kind of a kind of bigger production about the Day of the Dead kind of holiday or whatever. It's nice to actually have a movie about that because not many movies are, especially on a Pixar level. So, Joel, what about you with Coco? Are you looking forward to the next Pixar adventure?
Yeah, I am. I think that this looks pretty wonderful, actually. I was a fan of the Book of Life. I'm excited to see Pixar's take on that sort of milieu, and so I'm excited. It's sort of a question mark because we've only gotten that one trailer and it didn't really reveal a lot. But yeah, and then of the other two, Darkest Hour looks okay. I'm up and down on Joe Wright. One of his more popular ones was one I didn't really like, which was Atonement. I'm a huge fan of Pride and Prejudice and Anna Karenina, though. I hated Pan from a couple years ago.
I don't think anyone was a fan of Pan.
Awful. And then Hannah was really good.
Okay.
Which is his action movie with
Channing Tatum? Was it?
No. It was Saoirse Ronan as the child killer or whatever. Eric Bana was her dad.
Oh, yeah.
And then he also did one that I wasn't a really big fan of either, even though it had a really good Robert Downey Jr. performance, which was The Soloist. So I've actually seen, I think, every one of his movies, which is kind of rare right now, I think. But so I'm a fan of his. I'm sure I'll see this. I think we're covering it on the show at some point. So it just kind of looks generic. Oldman looks interesting. It looks like an odd one from him, in terms of the performance. Obviously, unrecognizable makeup. You don't look at this guy and think of Drexel from True Romance at all. I mean, it's like a completely different person or something.
Or that fucking asshole from Leon the Professional.
or Sirius Black, or the guy from Tinker Tailor, or anything. I mean, it's just not been a very good year for Gary Oldman, though, because he was in The Space Between Us, and then
which is you and Carrie's favorite movie
ever. Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. And then The Hitman's Bodyguard, where he felt like he was in a completely different movie from everybody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not hugely excited for it or whatever, but I guess it looks solid. And then Call Me by Your Name looks wonderful. Cary, go watch the trailer when you're done with this because it's an amazing trailer. It has been called. I've got some Facebook acquaintances / friends who've seen it at various festivals before this, and I think one guy got his hands on a festival screener or something like that, and they've all been saying that it's by far like the best film of the year in like a Moonlight kind of way, where it's so far above everything else that it's not even funny. For me, it's hard to believe that in a year with War for the Planet of the Apes, but nevertheless, I'm super excited for that. That's the absolute standout of this group for me. I'm very excited.
Yeah, no, Call Me by Your Name is probably the most anticipated, just because, like you said, Coco, we've only seen one trailer, didn't really reveal much. It's a very beautiful looking movie, but Call Me by Your Name is definitely the pick for sure. I didn't know this, but the director of Call Me by Your Name is doing the Suspiria remake.
Yeah, and he did A Bigger Splash last year, which I thought was pretty solid. And he did I Am Love back in 2010 with Tilda Swinton. A lot of people love that movie. I wasn't a huge fan, but he's got an eye for surroundings and set design, so I'm excited for that for sure. And to make Cary, have you seen his previous two?
I have not seen him.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay. Never mind. I was gonna make a really niche Luca Guadagnino joke, but I guess I won't anymore because I've seen both.
You and like that one person in Wisconsin would only get that joke, so thank you for trying. So it's a pretty interesting week indeed when you have like a bigger ass movie like Coco, and then you have a smaller, possibly Oscar contention like Call Me by Your Name. So that is great.
Then a clear Oscar contender with Darkest Hour. I think that's one.
No, Gary Oldman looks like he's like literally constipated throughout the entire trailer, going, "Give me the Oscar, fuck!" Like so. That's exactly what he's doing. But yeah, so gentlemen, November has wrapped up. So Cary, I'll go to you first. Which one are you looking forward to the most? I'm assuming a couple of movies we talked about at the beginning.
Well, probably Thor Ragnarok, believe it or not.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, because you said you hadn't seen the trailer to Sacred Deer yet. Yeah. So yeah. So for me, I gotta split it up. Big movie, Thor. Smaller movie, yeah, Killing of a Sacred Deer. I'm actually gonna just go with that whole weekend. That whole weekend is just the winner of the entire month, except for Bad Moms Christmas, which that can go sleep in a gutter somewhere. So, Joel, what about you? What is the one that you are looking forward to the most?
Goodness me. I'm going to have to say...
Is it The Star?
Yeah, totally. I'm going to have to say a Bad Mom's Christmas. No. I'm going to have to say probably The Killing of a Sacred Deer. But it's a really close three-way tie between that, Thor Ragnarok, and Call Me By Your Name.
Yeah.
So,
no, I totally agree.
The edge goes to the mystery of the trailer of Sacred Deer. So
yeah. All right, so yeah, that will be November, guys. So we're almost done, 3/4 of the way done, if I have done my math properly. All right, so let's go on to December. We are almost done, and Cary looks like he's ready to get the fuck out of here. So I do not blame him. There's not really much listed for December,
well,
so I don't know.
Hey, Chase.
What?
So this is an awkward thing. I'm gonna ask you to go to Wikipedia and look up 2017 in film, and then go to December because the IMDb page is like completely wrong.
Oh, well, that's like super embarrassing.
I know. I discovered this during when we were recording. I was because I looked at it and finally, and I was like, what? All the like dates are wrong, and it's just there's like a third of the movies that are actually coming out show up. And
that's why, ladies and gentlemen, Joel is the best fucking co-host ever because I would have never even witnessed that. So you said 2017 in film.
Just go to October through December and scroll down to December because you'll see what I mean. Because you'll be like, wait, what? How do they miss these and all that? It's crazy.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and pull that up. December. So. Like, Joel, who do you think runs IMDb? Is it just like a pile of monkeys, or like, is it like an AI system? Like, what's going on over there? Can we describe what the?
I don't know, but like the Steven Spielberg movie's not on the page. The
what?
The Paul Thomas Anderson movie's not on the page. The Shape of Water's not on the page. So it's crazy. But
yeah.
Anyway.
So I'm still trying to scroll. So this is what happens when we do shit live. So maybe we should just go to... Oh, and we also forgot about, in November, 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Oh,
and LBJ. What the fuck? And Paddington, too. Jesus. Well, anyways, all three of those... Well...
Yeah, we might want to discuss maybe using this rather than IMDb next time or something. I don't know.
Well, because we also forgot Molly's Game. Forgot Death Wish.
Death Wish is obviously the most anticipated movie.
Well, I can probably speak for everyone in saying Molly's Game, yes.
Last Flag Flying looks really good.
Yeah, Last Flag Flying, the trailer dropped for that this past week. That's the Richard Linklater film.
Thank you for your service. We forgot in October. So, yeah, we should probably have, planned this better. And
yeah, so we apologize for all this confusion. I mean, we didn't really miss much. We just maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
it was just random, littler movies that we could have mentioned, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of we'll change this up for next year for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of go over the ones we missed. Boo 2, a Medea Halloween, no thank you. Leatherface, no thank you. Thank you for your service. Miles Teller, playing a person with PTSD, right? So I mean, and Amy Schumer's in it. It's just fucking bizarre. Suburbicon, forgot to mention that, the George Clooney directed Coen Brothers-esque movie, essentially. Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman, that looks really great. Joel and I talked about the trailer a while back. Last Flag Flying, we just said that. Richard Linklater. LBJ, Woody Harrelson plays LBJ, directed by Rob Reiner. It looks whatever. 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. Looking forward to that like a motherfucker. Mark McDowell, who did 7 Psychopaths and Bruges. Another dark comedy in his belt. That's... Oh, and of course, Molly's Game. We talked about that. Aaron Sorkin, all that stuff. And then Death Wish, no one wants to talk about. So, yeah, we fucked up big time. So, sorry about that. So, let's move on to December. Joel, what do we got for the first week?
Yeah, okay, so we've got two pretty big ones here. The Disaster Artist, which is the dramatization of The Making of the Room from James Franco. It's got an amazing cast. It had a perfect teaser trailer that picked one of the iconic moments from the movie and recreated it. And yeah, that looks terrific. And then we haven't seen the trailer for this one yet, but obviously we're probably going to very soon, which is Wonder Wheel. It's Woody Allen's latest. It's got Kate Winslet, Justin Timberlake, Jim Belushi, which is inspired casting. It'll be interesting to see him in something. So yeah, I guess of those two, pretty much The Disaster Artist is the winner, but I'm certainly... and it looks like Wonder Wheel is a crime drama, so that's interesting from Woody Allen, with Justin Timberlake and Jim Belushi being in a crime drama from Woody Allen is an interesting sentence to say. Yeah, I'm excited for both, but The Disaster Artist is the clear winner, and I'll be seeing that one very soon. So.
Yeah, Wonder Wheel. You know what's really funny about Jim Belushi? He's actually in the reincarnation of Twin Peaks, and he's actually really good in that show. So it's really cool to see him kind of emerge and doing more films, and of course working with Woody Allen. It sounds great. Kate Winslet with Justin Timberlake. Did you ever fucking think you'd wake up and realize that was going to be a duo on screen one day? And then, of course, The Disaster Artist. I love that teaser. I love that whole rooftop scene. Listen, if you guys have not seen The Room, not Room, which was a great film with Jacob Tremblay, The Room, you were missing out. Cary, I'm making a bold prediction right now on the show. I said this a while back, but I'll say it in front of you. If The Disaster Artist is nominated for Best Lead Actor with James Franco will bring Tommy Wiseau to the Oscars, and Tommy Wiseau will finally have the full circle of life, making one of the worst movies ever as a serious movie, only to be made fun of, write a book about it, have a movie based on that book, and then him actually reach the Oscars. Do you think that's going to happen, and what do you think of the teaser?
I like the teaser a lot. I'm really looking forward to this. I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I like I like the way you think. I think that could happen.
You think that's probably a possibility? Yeah. Now, did you go to South by this year?
I did, but I didn't see Disaster.
See, I was going to ask you that because that was one of the kind of like boffo films down there, right? Because I think Seth was doing a couple films or whatever. So, yeah, I heard pretty decent things from The Disaster Artist, but that's also from people that hate Seth Rogen. So they said decent, so that means we'll probably like it. Are you a fan of Woody Allen films, or what do you think of Wonder Wheel?
This sounds very intriguing. I mean, it's Woody Allen doing something I really wouldn't expect him to be doing. But, you know, I run hot and cold with him. He basically releases a film a year.
Yeah.
You know, the guy doesn't stop. So I admire
that. The guy's
that.
older than you. So, I mean,
yeah, the fact that he's still standing says something.
He doesn't need his walker.
So, I mean, I give him credit for that, but everything he does isn't necessarily great because I think he's so prolific. Yeah, but this one looks like it could be really good.
Do you think him casting Justin Timberlake, do you think he saw something in his audition or whatever, was like, yeah, I'm going to put him in my movie? Because, I mean, he's not like shy of putting like people we wouldn't expect, but it's also Justin Timberlake going up against probably one of the best actresses working. So,
well, I think that's one of the interesting things about it is see what the chemistry is between them.
Yeah, I mean,
and speaking of Jim Belushi, having him in a Woody Allen movie, you were saying, getting him in more movies has a feel of the same feel as Andrew Dice Clay being in Blue Jasmine years ago, where it was this actor who's he's been around for a while, he's just not done a lot that hasn't been on TV or stand up or whatever. And Jim Belushi's the same way. He's had his shows and all that, but it's just not been in a lot of movies since the 90s, where he was in dramas like Gang Related and comedies and stuff. And now he's jumping back into it with a Woody Allen movie where he'll probably be really well treated. And I mean, it's an interesting casting decision for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, that is definitely that week. So it's a really nice kind of smaller weekend for films. So for December 8th, we have The Shape of Water, which is the new Del Toro film, which is not a prequel to Doug Jones's character from Hellboy, which a lot of people were speculating. It's not. Anyways, this one is basically about a mute woman who falls in love with a frog. That's the best way to describe it. Not really, but I mean, he's like an amphibious, like human. She is a mute. It looks like he's kind of tapping into his Pan's Labyrinth type of roots a little bit, maybe mixed a little bit with Hellboy. So, Cary, I'll go to you first. Did you see the trailer to this? Because this is one of the few movies to where they played a trailer in front of a movie and didn't actually release it online for quite a bit. So you only saw it when you saw Joel, what was the movie it played in front of? You remember?
Oh gosh, what was that? It was
It was recent too. I can't think of it.
Was it? No, it wasn't Valerian. It was or was it? Was it Valerian?
It was not Valerian.
Was it done?
No, because like I remember seeing it, and I was like, holy shit! Like I wasn't expecting it because like usually like they drop several. Was it Atomic Blonde?
No, I'm gonna look it up.
It was definitely something. Oh, War for the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because it was 20th Century Fox. Duh.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that trailer played. Absolutely enjoyed it. What did you think of that trailer?
I haven't seen the trailer.
Oh.
But I like Del Toro, and it's a great cast. Michael Shannon, Sally Hawkins, Octavia Spencer. So it'll be probably one of my favorites that month.
I mean, did you like Pan's Labyrinth?
I did, very much.
It kind of reminds me of, like I said, like a mix of that and Hellboy. So, give the trailer a watch. I think you'll really like it. Like Michael Shannon, he plays the villain in the trailer, and it's like, dude, the guy just can't do no wrong. He's Michael fucking Shannon. So, that's pretty much it for that week. So, all right, let's get this over with. Joel, do the next weekend, please, so we can move on.
Oh boy. Well, the biggest movie of the year is opening. It's an animated film called Ferdinand.
Starring John Cena.
John Cena.
Biggest movie.
I'm actually going to just go ahead and get this one out of the way. Honestly, this movie looks pretty cute.
It looks fine.
Yeah, it looks fine. It's actually an animated movie in which it seems like they were trying to avoid physical pratfall, violent humor, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's pretty neat. It's certainly welcome after the Nut Job 2 and the Emoji Movie and stuff like that, where they're just mean-spirited and meaningless. And so anyway, that's that, whatever. But obviously the big movie is Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, which is Rian Johnson's, he wrote and directed this eighth film in the franchise, seventh sequel, whatever you want to call it, second sequel in a new cycle. And it just, oh man, I can't wait for it. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, as everybody knows. I'm excited to find out, what Luke Skywalker's been up to. The little hints that I've been hearing about the movie through like featurettes give me the idea that he's gone the way of his father, but we'll see. I'm going to be interested to see, who Laura Dern's playing. She's one of my favorites. Benicio del Toro is apparently quite interesting in this movie. I'm hearing from, so I'm just so excited for this. It's it's sort of like my Christmas, basically 10 days early, and so I'm going to see it that evening. I'm taking off work that evening actually, and I can't imagine not going to the Thursday night showings, or one of them. And I'm sure that this is going to be one of those that I see like 3 times in the weekend that it opens.
Joel, you'll see it 3 times in one day. Let's not kid ourselves. Jesus.
It'll be a situation. It'll be a situation like when I read the last Harry Potter book, where I literally read the last Harry Potter book 3 times in 24 hours.
Wow.
And so yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Rian Johnson. I mean, it's really interesting that he's directing this because, like, yeah, he did Brick and Looper and stuff and The Brothers Bloom, sure. But he also directed some Breaking Bad episodes a lot of people tend to forget, and he directed one of the best ones.
Ozymandias.
Yeah, which is one of the best television episodes, period. So the fact that he's doing this is way, like, I like J.J. Abrams quite a bit, but Rian Johnson's a better director. So him doing it, I'm really excited to see that. I'm excited to see where the story goes because, like I told both of you, I'm just a casual fan. I'm still excited to see like where they take all the characters and whatnot and what happens. It will be nice to see Carrie Fisher one last time for a lot of people. So of course that, and then Ferdinand. I know people will dog on it, but one, it's great crown program to Star Wars if it's too intense for little kids, and 2, John Cena. He's going to be the next Dwayne Johnson, whether you like it or not. And the fact that he's headlining an animated movie is a huge deal. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like, he is headlining a movie. Like, I don't care if it's animated or not. Like, yeah, it's not 12 Marines or fucking 12 rounds Marine fucking whatever he's done. But he is going to be in a very big budgeted film. And that is a true testament to people that will have faith in him as he will rise up the ranks to be the next Dwayne Johnson. So that's just my thoughts on that. And the trailer, like Joel said, it's cute, it's harmless, it's whatever. So Cary, let's just jump into it. Star Wars. You excited? What's going on over there?
I'm not as big a Star Wars fan as Joel, but I'm probably a bigger fan than you.
Yeah.
So I am looking for this. I mean, I loved Brick, and I liked Looper. So I'm really looking forward to what Rian Johnson does with this.
Yeah. What kind of flavor do you think Rian Johnson will bring to it?
I'm hoping it's kind of. I mean, everyone said the last couple had a bit of a darkness, but maybe even more so.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that they're going to kind of do what the original trilogy did and this won't be the Empire Strikes Back?
That would be nice if it were.
I mean, it kind of seems like they're going to go that way from just the tone of the one trailer we've gotten. Don't worry, folks. We're going to get another trailer soon. They're going to do the same model as they did for The Force Awakens. We'll receive it in October, probably during a football game once again. So that's probably that. So out of all the new cast members, which one are you looking forward to seeing?
Well, he mentioned Laura Dern, and I'm not sure who Andy Serkis is, what creature he's going to be.
I mean, it's going to be mocap. So, actually, wait a minute, isn't he?
He's Snoke.
Yeah, he's Snoke.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
and Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah, exactly. So just the fact that they keep adding great cast members and whatnot, it's great. Laura Dern. I don't know who the fuck her agent is, but like she started emerging like a few years ago, like kind of back into the spotlight. I mean, she's been in a lot of great smaller films. She's in Twin Peaks. Now she's going to be in Star Wars. Who's your fucking agent? Because apparently you're doing way better than your dad, to where after Nebraska, Bruce just kind of like left and went in a retirement home somewhere. So, yeah, no, I'm looking forward to The Last Jedi for sure. I want to see where it goes. And then Ferdinand, it's a big deal for John Cena. Don't sleep on it. All right, so Joel, would you like to explain to us why Jack Black playing a teenage girl is the best thing in cinema to happen this year?
Well, actually, I think that this Jumanji movie looks pretty fun.
It actually does. I actually like the trailer. I'm just joking, of course, but like the trailer actually wasn't bad.
It wasn't. It looks pretty enjoyable. The video game kind of feel to it, where you have the Karen Gillan character. I think you mentioned it actually in the trailer segment where we talk about this. The Karen Gillan character, like leaping up in the air and then doing that really weird kick and all that.
It's so great.
It's just funny. And then you have Jack Black kind of basically playing the role as he's basically, it's funny. He's playing the role as a 16-year-old girl is playing an old middle-aged man, and it looks really funny.
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson is playing the new version of Alex Wolff, which is pretty interesting. And then Kevin Hart is, as he would say in the trailer, missing the top 2 feet of his body, which it just looks fun and silly and funny, and I'm slightly excited to see what Nick Jonas is doing in this. Apparently anyway, it just looks pretty fun, and so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I knew it was coming, but to be honest with you, I'm a huge fan of the original. It's kind of like my '90s nostalgia type of movie. I know Cary was a little older, so that might have not appealed to him. I don't know yet, but Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, very nice surprise on that trailer, and hopefully Jake Kasdan can have a hit because. Let's face it, Sex Tape was not the one to break him into the zeitgeist of Hollywood. So, Cary, did you see the trailer to Jumanji?
Yeah, it was surprisingly enjoyable.
Right? It was a nice take because my one worry was they were going to do the board game again, and the fact that they went to video games was a nice kind of modern touch. So, yeah, I'm totally on board.
And Nick Jonas is underrated as an actor, I think.
He wasn't bad in the first season of Scream Queens.
And he was also in that Kingdom.
Yeah, I heard
he's
Kingdom
very
was pretty good too. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, don't sleep on Nick Jonas. Like he's actually trying, and he kind of reminds me of like the performance Harry had in Dunkirk. Mm-hmm. Harry Styles wasn't bad in Dunkirk either. So it's like, hey, listen, let's take all these like Disney like singers or little tween singers and throw them into movies because they're actually not bad. So
he was also in that Fraternity movie.
Oh, Goat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you and I were talking about that. Did you? You said you liked it, right?
I did. Yeah.
Joel, did you see Goat?
I did not. It didn't really open anywhere very clearly accessible near me, so I missed it. I think it's on Netflix, or it was, or something. I know that we have a copy at my work, so I'll rent it. Sure.
So December, Jumanji comes out December 20th,
yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
So these next four
And
come out
that
the
was
20th.
smart of them to do that on a Wednesday, because after Star Wars, they'll have a little bit of a cushion where, to expand their weekend of box office for that one. It's not going to be like some great success, especially after Star Wars, but at least they have, 4 days to work with rather than 2.
Listen, a lot of people sleep on the counter-programming theory. Look at what The Force Awakens did. What was the movie that opened up against it? Wasn't good, but it was Sisters. Sisters didn't do half bad. It made like $30 million opening weekend to a $249 million opening from Star Wars. So
yeah, I mean,
and that's pretty successful.
And Ferdinand's gonna do pretty well. Blue Sky generally does pretty good numbers. So
yeah. So no, I'm not worried about any movie opening up against Star Wars because it's genius. And speaking of movies opening up against Star Wars, we have a few more on the 22nd, and that would be Pitch Perfect 3. The third movie to this franchise, the first one was enjoyable. I didn't see the second one, but that trailer to this third one, they're fucking jumping off boats with explosions. What are we? They're literally jumping the shark, but they're jumping off a boat instead. No, thank you. I'm done with that. Downsizing. Alexander Payne, a smaller film with Kristen Wiig and Matt Damon. They are a couple who basically just downsize their life and not live their lifestyle and kind of go normal or whatever.
No, it's not that. It's a sci-fi movie about how they have themselves literally shrunk down.
I don't.
Yeah, it's basically sort of a drama, adult version of how Honey, I Shrunk Your Kids, except it's themselves.
But I think it's gonna be a darker version.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's not just got Matt Damon and Kristen Wiig, Christoph Waltz, Alec Baldwin, Neil Patrick Harris, Jason Sudeikis, and it's a drama. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's pretty interesting. So.
Yeah, I don't know what I was. I must be thinking of a different movie because I completely forgot about the sci-fi element, and it's also been a long weekend, so forgive me.
You think about Suburbicon?
Yeah, I might have been thinking about Suburbicon because fucking Matt Damon's in both of them, and and we haven't seen a trailer to Downsizing yet, but I have a feeling of, it's just Matt Damon doing his Matt Damonisms. Anyways,
the trailer will probably show up in time for something like American Made.
Oh yeah, that makes total sense. Yes, another film that I really don't give a shit about, Bastards, with Ed Helms and Owen Wilson. It's a road trip comedy with them, distributed by Warner Brothers. All right, it's got Ving Rhames in it. That's cool. And then of course, probably Joel's favorite movie of the weekend. I don't know. He might go with Downsizing, and that would be The Post, directed by good old Spielberg Steven. And it stars Tommy Hanks and Meryl Streep. And basically, Joel can describe it better than I can. Joel, which one? This is the Pentagon Papers one, right?
Yeah, it was just until last week called The Papers, and then they switched the title to the original title, which was The Post. And yeah, it's about the cover-up involving the Pentagon Papers. That spanned several presidencies, and this one's got a crazy cast. It's got Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks, and then a bunch of TV people. So it's pretty neat. And yeah, I'm definitely most excited for this one. I'm just going to give that away.
Really? So Downsizing doesn't.
I'm certainly excited for Downsizing because I'm a big Alexander Payne fan. I haven't seen everything yet from him, but I love Sideways. I love Nebraska. I love The Descendants. I think that he's a really interesting, low-key voice. So he's got Jim Taylor writing the screenplay as usual with him. So I'm definitely excited for that. But I mean, a Steven Spielberg period drama about a big a point of cover-up involving the presidencies in the period of time we live in right now is going to be very very timely, I think.
I'll be curious to see how it does with all the stuff about fake news and all that, and also if people who like Spotlight, we'll see if they like it. So I'm curious to see how it does.
It feels. I mean, it comes from the co-writer Josh Singer,
right.
who also co-wrote Spotlight. Did this one, so it's very much in line. and I feel like this one might, be a bit galvanizing, a bit like All the President's Men still plays, actually. I just watched All the President's Men not long ago, and it's amazing. It's a masterpiece anyway, but it, especially right now, plays as kind of ahead of its time. It's amazing, and this could be sort of like that. It would be hard to be as good as that, even for Spielberg, but nevertheless, I feel like that would be as close as we got to, outside of Spotlight to something like that. So I'm super excited for that. But I'm definitely excited for Downsizing. Pitch Perfect 3, no thank you. I thought that the first one was solid. The second one was an interesting case of, like, the entire movie was about how the Anna Kendrick character wanted to escape the life of being an a cappella star, and we ended up, like, wishing that she would just get out of it already. So that they have a third movie is really worrisome. I'm not seeing it. I'll just say that. I know I saw the previous two and I reviewed them, I think, or I reviewed the second one or whatever, but I have no interest in this one. It looks bad. It looks cheaply made.
All right, so Joel, I have to ask you then, like, if you had a gun to your head to pick one crappy comedy over the other, would you be forced to go see Pitch Perfect 3 or Bastards?
Well, with Bastards, it seems... I actually wonder if it's even coming out, because
the trailer was released, so I mean, like...
The trailer was released, but it was after, I think, like a week or two later, that they said that it was removed from the schedule. And so, I mean, I guess, they reset the release date, but I never heard that. And so I have to wonder if it's like filler or something, like they're just going to move it later. But it's been on the chopping block for a while, and it's got a weird cast. I will say that. I mean, it's kind of all over the place. It's got Owen Wilson, Ed Helms, J.K. Simmons is in it, but also Terry Bradshaw.
Yep.
Yeah, Glenn Close. I mean, Glenn Close and Terry Bradshaw being in a movie is interesting, for sure. Ving Rhames, June Squibb, speaking of Nebraska. So it's just an odd cast. I'm certainly interested in it in that way, but it doesn't look good. So I don't know. It's a weird one.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird week indeed. Cary, I guess I'll go to you. Pitch Perfect 3, it's a thing. Did you watch the trailer?
I did not watch the trailer. I have absolutely no interest in this movie.
It's terrible. So let's move on. Did you see the Bastards trailer?
I didn't.
It's terrible. Let's move on. So out of the post and Downsizing, I mean, which one kind of intrigues you more? Would you want more of like this real life kind of drama, or do you want more of like this kind of weird, kooky sci-fi comedy?
I'm real interested in both of them. I mean, the post I think is going to be a real straight ahead, well done drama. Downsizing I think could be real surprising, a lot of sort of sneaky, dark ways. So I mean, I think they'll both have different strengths, but I'm looking forward to both of them.
Are you a fan of Alexander Payne?
Yes, I loved Election.
Which one of his modern ones are your favorite?
I like Nebraska.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Nebraska's terrific, and there was a lot of pushback because people thought that he was like caricaturizing the South, but he's from Nebraska, so that definitely was not what was happening there. It was a really good movie. It was
Nebraska's not the South.
I think he meant more like kind of like redneck culture, not the South, because Nebraska's more like Midwest, but or whatever. So
it's whatever.
Yeah, but no, Alexander Payne. Like I've seen Election. Nebraska was really great. Bruce Dern gave a really great performance that year. The only one I haven't seen, which is actually one of his more popular ones, or both of them actually, is The Descendants and Sideways. So I'm a little behind on the Alexander train, but
I need to see About Schmidt as well.
Oh yeah, very fucking. That's the notorious one where Kathy Bates blinded a lot of people. So yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. All right, so no, this one actually is up my wheelhouse because I love like weird sci-fi comedies, and so Downsizing is perfect for me. But the post though could be the Bridge of Spies, if you will, for this year for Spielberg. But it's like what Cary said, with everything going on with the news and everything, this could be a lot more poignant than most of these movies coming out this year. So who knows? It could be definitely a surprise. But yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep, and a bunch of TV people. So good for them. Because you have a Arrested Development, Community, American Horror Story, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, and Carrie Coon's pretty much in everything. So it's very weird. So all right, Joel, let's wrap it up with the last couple movies coming out for the end of the year.
Yeah, so this is an interesting lineup. Although one of them is going to be, January wide release. There's The Greatest Showman, which is the Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron, Michelle Williams, Rebecca Ferguson biography of the what's his name?
P.T. Barnum.
Yeah, the Barnum and Bailey kind of the Ringling Brothers and all that. That one looks solid, but the one that I'm more interested in, because I'm a huge fan of this director, is Phantom Thread, which is the new Paul Thomas Anderson film in which Daniel Day-Lewis plays a ruthless fashion guru guy. And obviously, I mean, he's retiring after this apparently, so that'll be interesting that he's leaving off with the director who led him to his third Oscar or something, or his second Oscar. So, yeah, I mean, I love Daniel Day-Lewis. He's one of the great actors of pretty much all time. And this material is very interesting. I'm a huge Paul Thomas Anderson fan. He makes some of my favorite movies ever. Boogie Nights, Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood. I mean, this he doesn't miss. I got to rewatch The Master, which I've actually borrowed from Chase, and I'm planning on a big.
You've had it for like 4 months.
I have. I'm planning a big PTA. I'm going through all of his movies right before that one, so it'll be one that I get back to you in like December. But
I'll see it in 5 years.
Yeah. But anyway, especially after Inherent Vice, which I think is one of his best films ever. I think that this is an interesting direction to take. So I'm super, super, super excited. That's of the two. I mean, Greatest Showman looks good, solid trailer, but I gotta go with PTA here. He's an amazing director, and this sounds great.
And Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead again does the soundtrack.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's another big draw. I mean, he did probably the best score that year, maybe in 2007 for that movie. So I'm super excited. And
no, I was just gonna say, like, I totally agree with you. Like, that's my pick for obvious reasons. He's one of the best filmmakers to ever grace the industry. The Greatest Showman, it could be a nice little kind of end cap to Hugh Jackman's great year so far, especially with Logan. And Zac Efron needs a win. For God's sake, his agent sucks. When you have like Neighbors 2, Baywatch, Dirty Grandpa, and some other garbage like that has been like populated for like the past 3 years, you need to fire someone. You need to fucking fire your manager, whoever the hell's in charge of your shit, because they are fucking you up.
You forgot the DJ movie he was in.
Oh,
I like that one.
Well, Joe, you saw the Nut Job too. All right, so I can't take you seriously. I'm just kidding. All right, so Cary, I don't think we've ever talked about PTA. Are you a fan of him in general, and are you looking forward to Phantom Thread?
I'm looking forward to Phantom Thread. I don't know if I'm as big a fan as Joel, but I do like his work in general.
I love his work. Like, I mean, what's your favorite out of his kind of filmography?
I like Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights is a classic. There Will Be Blood, probably one of the best. Inherent Vice, Paul Thomas Anderson has dabbled in most of the genres, and a lot of people are really confused because, like, really? Think about it. Boogie Nights is kind of like his sexy biopic. Magnolia is his epic drama. There Will Be Blood is his horror film. Punch Drunk Love is his romantic comedy. Inherent Vice is his romance film. Like, the guy has dabbled in a lot of different kind of genres, and that's what makes him kind of unique. He has a unique voice, especially considering that most of the movies don't really make that much money, but still he gets funding. I have a theory, and hear me out. A lot of people don't know this. PTA is one of the best directors to ever walk this planet. This man has children with Maya Rudolph. Now, hear me out. Maya Rudolph continues to get work in comedic films and voiceover work. I think that she funds the majority of his budgets. I'm serious. Like, she makes a lot of money for probably doing a lot of voiceover work. His films are very low budget, and they don't make that much money. I think that they work together, and I think that she actually gives him a little bit and be like, hey, listen, this one's probably going to cost a lot. I'll give you half of it from the shit I just, made from this, really crappy animated film. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, and a lot of people are really...
too, for instance.
Yeah. So, and a lot of people are shocked that, like, they actually have children together, and it's weird, but, it is what it is. But Yeah, definitely the one I'm looking forward to the most. And Daniel Day-Lewis, I don't think we've talked to Cary about this, Joel, but any thoughts on him, quote-unquote, retiring after this?
Well, we'll see if he actually retires.
Right, and goes back to shoe cobbling for a while and then comes back. Probably going to an island somewhere, like be a tribesman and just like come back.
Or it
like,
could be like Steve Soderbergh or Kiss or something.
Listen, Steven Soderbergh, I like Logan Lucky quite a bit, but you got to stop saying that you're retiring because you ain't. Just stop lying to everyone. So, yeah, but PTA, give me more. I will always like everything that you do, for sure. So, guys, that's
I have a feeling that with PTA, I'm just going to say two other things. I have a feeling with, Steven Soderbergh, that his idea of retiring is really just, he's saying, instead of working 20 hours a day, I'm going to work 10 hours a day. I think that's basically...
If that's his thought process, then good for him.
Yeah. And then the other thing I was going to say was Boogie Nights, I was just going to say this real quick. Just my love for Boogie Nights is this, that I haven't seen a whole lot of movies that are considered top tier for 1997. But if I ever manage to see one that's better than Boogie Nights, like, I'll be shocked. Because
I will alert you.
Amazing.
Because Boogie Nights is a classic. There's a reason why nothing has touched it that year. So... so no, that will be due December, guys. So let's go around the horn and let's pick our favorite. This was actually a lot more tough than most of the months we've done thus far, especially when you open up with the Disaster Artist. I don't even know how the hell you wouldn't pick that, but then you go down, you have Phantom Thread. I mean, Cary, what are you thinking? Which one is gravitating towards you? And you can't say Star Wars, you too. So something else, please. Yeah, Joel, you fucking heard me.
You know what?
I would say the Disaster Artist is...
Really?
Yeah.
You would pick that over everything else coming out?
I mean, there's other stuff I want to see. Well, The Post, obviously. I would probably put that second, Phantom Thread third.
But all the other films are erased from existence. You can only pick one, and you're going with, I did not hit I did not, oh hi, Mark. This is the film you're going with.
I'm going to go with the Disaster Artist.
Damn. Yeah. Okay, that's quite shocking. Joel, what about you?
Okay, I guess if I can't go with Star Wars, goodness me,
This is tough.
probably Phantom Thread, just because of the prestige behind it. I'd say it's the same three as Cary, but maybe just a slightly different order, because all three of those look great. But yeah, I think I might go with Phantom Thread, which might change once we see full trailers for all three of these. You never know. We'll see. Obviously, we've got trailers coming up for these because we have to.
we have to at some point.
Yeah, we have to have them. We haven't seen much from the Disaster Artist. We've only seen that one scene recreated, and that's basically it. I mean, it was a perfect trailer or a perfect teaser, but we haven't really seen anything from the movie. So it'll be interesting to see those shape up. But right now, because of the material, because of the actor, because of the director, I'm going to go with Phantom Thread.
You know what? Cary and I don't agree on a lot of things, but we are actually agreeing on a Seth Rogen film directed by James Franco as the best of December. Because you know what's great about PTA? As much as I adore the man, I'm expecting greatness already. I don't need to be more excited. But The Disaster Artist is like one of those weird, like, just cauldrons of movies where like just so many things are going into it and so many elements to where like I want it to be like one of the best movies adapted from a book about making one of the worst movies ever. Like, if that doesn't sell you, I don't know what does. So I'm going to go with The Disaster Artist. Cary and I are excited for a Seth Rogen film. Congratulations, we are the winners. So what about you guys? You guys are actually the winners. What are your favorites from September, October, November, December? Please let us know down below. Before we wrap up, I'm just going to go over the box office real fast because I'm sure everyone's really curious to see like how the fuck anything did. I'm not going to really analyze these too much, but there was only a few new releases. There was 4 primary ones. Terminator 2 Judgment Day 3D release made $582,000. So James Cameron, maybe you should close your mouth a little bit more about Wonder Woman because that's probably what did you in. And also you can just watch it at home on Blu-ray. You don't really need to go out for that. All Saints, which is a new religious movie, made $1.5 million. That's actually not good. Maybe those are starting to slow down. Nope.
Well, let's pause there because it only has a $2 million budget, so it only needed to really make like what $6 million. I think it'll be fun.
Joel, I mean, like when you think about like the previous ones, though, like you open up to at least 5 or 10, that's kind of pretty bad. So
Yeah, true.
I don't care about the
didn't
budget.
at all. People didn't know what it was.
Exactly. And then Birth of a Dragon, or The Dragon, which was the Bruce Lee film, but that one fight, that it actually comes from not Blumhouse, but Blumhouse's kind of side company, Blumhouse Tilt. It made $2.5 million, also pretty bad. And then, of course, the biggest release, I guess if you had to pick one, was the animated film. And you're probably thinking to yourself, like, oh, yeah, animation kids can make $5 million. No one gave a shit or a rat's ass about any movie this weekend, primarily because everyone was at home last night watching the hug that the two people were experiencing in the ring last night. So
I'll go down a bit further. Good Time. For a very small movie, did really pretty well.
It didn't, yeah, because Joel is a huge fan of the percentage hikes, and Good Time went from its release last weekend, and it went up 269.2%, and it made $610,000. That's pretty good for that movie, and it's grossed a little over $1 million. Hey, listen, I know this one cost a little bit more than heaven knows what, but the Safdie brothers are making a pretty big splash, so yeah, it did pretty well. Ingrid Goes West went up 192%. It made $781 this weekend. It kind of opened up a little bit more, and it so far has made 1.3. So it's actually kind of on the same path as Good Time. As far as everything else, top 5, it's pretty much everything spilled over. Logan Lucky, number 5 with 4.3. It's not really doing too hot. Steven Soderbergh tried to market and do everything by himself. That's not the case with movies sometimes. Its budget's like $29 million, so it needs to make on average, or not average, but like to break even, I'm going to say like 60, 65-ish. It's not doing hot. Number 4 is actually Wind River. It went up from 10th place to number 4, so it actually jumped up about 50% with 4.4. It's made almost $10 million on a budget of 11. It'll do fine on streaming. It might get some awards buzz, I guess, but that's about it. Leap, no budget on that, but $5 million. Who gives a fuck? Annabelle Creation only dropped 50%, not bad in its third weekend. $7.3 million. It's made $77 on a $15 million budget. Listen, the model works, guys. I know you might not like the movies, but as far as business model, those things kill it. And The Hitman's Bodyguard, number 1, again, dropped 53% with $10 million. It's made $39 on a $30 million budget. I don't give a fuck. All right, so next week, guys, I hate to inform you, but there is no actually official episode. It'll probably just be me rambling, super drunk without Joel, and just how much I miss Joel. But no, next weekend, I will just go over our schedule for the rest of the year, so you guys will know each episode ending all the way until the top 10 of the year episodes, so that will be a lot of fun. I will go over probably a bunch of Netflix shit that I saw over the summer, and then if Joel and I have the Patreon thing up and running, I will, of course, announce that and whatnot. So next weekend's not an episode, but just more of like, kind of like a recap, kind of like future episode, whatever. But the next official episode is episode 198, where we will go over it, and Joel's got some other little hidden goodies in there, but we won't spoil that. But the main primary review is it. So before we wrap up, Cary, thank you for coming on once again and driving here and being miserable. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Don't worry, Cary will like me one of these days, guys. I will continue to try my best. So, yeah, thank you for coming on once again. More than welcome to come on, whatever. But I know that you're pretty picky, and I'm not going to just drag you out here for garbage. So, but it's nice to like talk about 4 months worth of movies. That's why I bring you on these episodes.
So you'll bring me on for Pitch Perfect 3
when we don't see it, and you'll be the only one that sees it, and you'll have to describe to us how that scene jumping off the boat was with the explosion, because I'm sure it makes total sense in the movie. So, Joel, where can the people find you online?
Yeah, so this is my sort of weekly plug for my website. It's going to be a bit longer because I did review movies this week. I reviewed Good Time. I quite liked that one. I reviewed Wind River, which I thought was okay. It kind of drops the ball in the last bit. But Good Time was good. Robert Pattinson's amazing in it, so see it for that. It's really fun and a lot funnier than I thought it would be. And then I watched this movie Rememory that we talked about last week on Google Play. It's pretty bad. I thought. I know Chase likes it, but I was not a fan.
Wait. Which movie?
Rememory.
Oh, I thought it was okay at best. Like I wasn't like praising.
I think you gave it like a B in your review, so I didn't know.
Oh yeah, I mean I thought it was solid. It wasn't like anything magical. But it was like that's whatever.
I think I'd give it like a D+ or something. It basically starts at a pretty interesting place and then it just dies. It's just not very good. It basically does the least interesting thing that you can do with the premise of a guy who's created this machine where you can actually like play your memories on a computer screen. And anyway, it wasn't very good. And then easily the worst film of the week and probably of the year that I've seen so far was Death Note, which I thought was ugly, vapid, depraved, and awful. Complete waste of time. It's just a bunch of gory violence with no point to it at all.
Worse than Wolf Warrior 2?
I've heard that one's pretty bad. I haven't seen that. But I've heard that one's pretty bad.
Well, apparently China fucking loves it with that inflation that the president is just like, yeah, I made this much.
Yeah, because it's apparently incredibly nationalist toward China. Like it's like China.
Oh, yeah. China saves the day. China saves the world.
Yeah, I mean it's basically like the Act of Valor movie from a few years ago, but in China. But yeah, I mean, Death Note is a repulsive movie. I don't know if did you watch it, Chase, or I didn't hear anything.
I will watch it soon.
Okay, well let me know what you think, and I'm assuming Cary's just going to stay far away from them. But
yes, I will not.
Cary's got other shit to watch on Netflix. He doesn't have time for that.
Yeah, it's awful. I gave it a shot because I hadn't ever seen the anime or read the manga or anything. So I was like, you know what, not knowing anything, probably the best place to watch this movie from. But it was something else. It's completely worthless. It's an entire series consolidated into a single movie, and it does not favor anyone in the cast or any of the characters or any of the storytelling, and it's grotesquely violent sometimes, and pointlessly so. It's just awful. So anyway, joelonfilm.com is where you can find those. You can find me at Twitter at realjoelcopling. You can find me on Letterboxd at jcopling. It's a really useful site that everybody needs to take part in. And you can find my writing some of my writing at dallasmoviescreenings.com. I've got a couple coming up this next weekend for them. So yeah, that's my internet footprint.
All right, yeah. So Cary, what about you, sir? I know that you're freelancing now. So but can you announce anything? Like, can we expect you to show up anywhere?
I am doing some freelancing, but not necessarily movie stuff. So.
Okay. So look out for the Cary Darling. His first name is actually not Cary; it's actually just the. So it's the Darling. So look for that online. So, but also your Twitter. You want to plug that?
Twitter's just at Cary Dar.
Cary Dar. So can we expect to see like your freelance stuff kind of pop up in the next?
It'll be popping up various places.
Oh shit! Listen, Cary's one of those guys who are like, he's gonna do well no matter what in life, and so like he's just like, yeah, I'm doing shit. Just wait your fucking turn, boy. So it's like, okay, I get it. So, all right. So for me, you can follow me on Twitter at RealChaseLee. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and of course, follow, subscribe, do whatever you have to do for this podcast and spread it around. And let people know it's the definitive podcast. Because hey, listen, if you listen to this entire thing and you are not a movie fan, well, hopefully we convince you to be one. Thank you for listening, guys. You guys are always badass, and let me know down below if you have any thoughts on Patreon stuff. If you have any suggestions, I would like to take your suggestions as well. So I'll see you guys next week for just kind of like a recap episode almost. It's not even going to be a full episode. So, and then of course
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and Joel will be gone for good. No, I'm just kidding. He'll be back in 2 weeks. So I'll see you guys next week for another episode of Real Man : a movie podcast. I'm Chase Lee. That is Joel over there. That is Cary over here. And the intro and outro music is done by my friends band Fervent Roze. And guess what, guys? All the links will be in the description below. Speaking of them, let's play them out. Bye-bye.
Bye.